It is 10:01. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. It is official. The Titans have hired Brian Daboll to be the offensive coordinator under Robert Saleh. Daboll, the former head coach of the Giants, steps into his fifth offensive coordinator role in the NFL. The introductory presser for Robert Saleh will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Meanwhile, the NFL coaching carousel keeps spinning, and the Cleveland Browns have their man as they are hiring Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken as their next head coach. First head coaching opportunity in the NFL for Monken. That leaves two open jobs across the league in Arizona and Las Vegas. The Nashville Predators fell in overtime Tuesday 3-2 at the Bruins. The road trip continues tomorrow at the Devils. And in college hoops, Vanderbilt routed Kentucky at home 80-55. Both Tyler Nickel and Tyler Tanner with 19 points as Vandy improves to 5-3. Tennessee on the road tonight. They face number 21 Georgia. 6 p.m. is the tip. You can catch the Vol Network coverage right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Jerry, 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 Jerry BNA. Yeah.
First on the scene,
NFL Insider, Jerry, tag teaming with NFL Insider, Jelly Roll. Jerry, she got it right.
is it a she?
Yeah. Yes, Jerry at BNA. Jerri. Miss Jerry. Flew from Las Vegas to Nashville with Brian Daboll, who is now the new Titans offensive coordinator. First on the scene, I saw no credit from Adam Schefter. I saw no credit from Diana Rossini.
It's a shame.
I saw no credit from Ian Rappaport. Saw no credit from Mike Garafolo, from Tom Pelissero. The only person that got credit yesterday was the one who did the reporting first, officially, Jelly Roll. How about our boy? Get a little NFL insider action. First on the report there yesterday that Brian Daboll had officially agreed to terms to be the Titans offensive coordinator. So Jerry at BNA was right. That was, in fact, Brian Daboll, not, as Robert suggested, just another fat guy. And he was in town to sign his contract, spent the day in the facility yesterday, got confirmation a little before 4 p.m. that he had officially agreed to his 3-year deal to be the offensive coordinator of the Titans, Brian Daboll.
I'm sorry. Who?
The new offensive coordinator of the Titans.
No, but what did you say his name was?
Brian Daboll.
Oh, man, this is just embarrassing.
Just super unprofessional.
Yeah, unprepared, unprofessional. I don't know why I expect better from you at this point. Robert, can we hear from Brian Daboll?
Yeah, so it's Daboll. D like table, Daboll. Yep, that's it. I've heard a lot of them.
Yeah, we have too. Just ridiculous.
Brian Daboll.
He's a new offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll. Come on, dude.
Didn't even bother.
Daboll. Like Dan Gable.
You're the one who tried so hard to shoehorn your Dabolls joke into the proceedings yesterday because now the Titans are the bald and the beautiful.
That is correct.
He wasn't making like a Brian Daboll name reference. He was simply stating Daybald.
Daybald.
They are, in fact, bald.
They are, in fact, bald.
Yes, that's what I said. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate at any point. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can get involved via the F&M Bank chat, where the comments are flowing fast and furiously today. So, Brian Daboll, we're going to spend basically the entire show talking about Brian Daboll because this is as big a win.
Come on.
Daboll.
Able. Able with a D in front. Daboll. They are willing and Daboll.
As feels like an Ashton Jeanty situation.
Yeah, he just told you.
You just heard it from the man.
Hold on, everybody. We'll fix this in post. I'll play it again for you.
Yeah, so it's Daboll. Like table, Daboll. Yep, that's it. I've heard a lot of them.
Hopefully no more of them. Hopefully no one calls you that at a press conference, buddy.
Daboll. Brian Daboll.
Still hearing a little bit of the ball.
I don't like it as much as I like Daboll.
His 5th offensive coordinator job for his 5th different NFL team, not including, of course, his stint as the offensive coordinator at Alabama.
2017, took a quick break from the NFL. He's only had one-year stints as OCs, except in Buffalo, which is interesting about the Brian Daboll career trajectory. But we will talk about what it means for Cam Ward, how much easier it makes Robert Saleh's press conference tomorrow when we finally get around to that for the first time on everybody involved, and, you know, the idea that maybe it is for just 1 year. Maybe he does get another opportunity to be a head coach down the line, but what are you worried about that for? It's 2026, not 2027. So keep focused on the future, and we'll work our way through that throughout the course of the next 3 hours. There's also a couple of different news items here, right as Ramon and Will were ending. Another NFL job head coaching vacancy has been filled. Todd Monken, Robert's former offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, will not be joining John Harbaugh as his preferred offensive coordinator candidate. He will be the head coach of the Browns. So what does that mean for Jim Schwartz? What does that mean for somebody like Nate Shellhouse, who was interviewing for the job as well? But Todd Monken, an interesting candidate in Cleveland. Do you fear that? Does that make you shake in your AFC North boots back there? Do you fear Todd Monken at all?
And not necessarily fear as much as I respect the hire.
Okay.
Todd's a fantastic coach, and while he doesn't have the equity in the head coaching game in the NFL, I do feel like he's a good at connecting to players, despite the offseason reports of him and Lamar not exactly seeing eye to eye. I think that was more of a technical misunderstanding versus I don't like the way we're executing this, or I don't like the way that we're doing this. I think Todd's a great coach. And then you get to keep Jim as the defensive coordinator. I think that it was a good hire. I was kind of hoping that they would go with a guy with very little experience and get him over his head, having to navigate the cap hell that they're in and the multitude of veterans who would probably like things to be better and the grasses to be greener. But no, they went with a measured, experienced coach who can kind of right the ship for them. And maybe he doesn't get them to 10 wins, but I do think that he makes them a more stable organization.
And then the final news item of the morning.
Stable like table.
Stable, yes, like a table with 4 legs.
Yeah.
Willing and stable.
I'm already annoyed with this bit. The other news item is another very annoying thing. Bill Belichick is not going to be a first ballot NFL Hall of Famer.
The right decision.
Oh, please.
Can you imagine? Is some sports radio host somewhere like banging the table trying to be that guy?
Sure. Oh, for sure.
There's way too many. Brave enough to say it. Bill Belichick does not belong in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Or Skip Bayless.
Yeah. Somebody out there is doing that.
There is, I mean, it's the one place where we all seem united. No, that's so stupid. That is unbelievably dumb. Did you see Jimmy Johnson freaking out on Twitter? Got that old man calling people bleep holes on social media.
Yeah. A lot of people coming out of the woodwork, banging on the table. Table like Daboll.
Surely there are not going to be more opportunities for you to make that joke throughout the course of the day.
We'll see.
It's unthinkable that Bill Belichick would not be a unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer. And yet, people are now actively trying to smoke them out, the voters who did not vote for Bill Belichick. And you got Bill Polian. I don't know. Is he faking senile? Being like, I'm 95% sure I voted for him. Did you vote for him or not, Bill?
Memory's getting a little foggy.
Yeah, you just playing the old man card. I might have voted for him.
We got a Hall of Fame tweet yesterday.
From?
I don't remember who it was. They didn't send it to us. It was about the situation, and it said, can't wait for the next season of True Detective, where Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson team up with Pablo Torre to figure out who did not vote him into the Hall of Fame.
I saw Pablo Torre then very quickly took that tweet and put out their hotline number for tips. So you got that going on in the background while Titans fans are drunk and naked in the icy streets celebrating the hiring of Brian Daboll.
You like Daboll?
Uh-huh.
Daboll like Vrabel.
Yes, exactly.
You're going to be the one to do that today? So, are you excited? What do you think it means? What does that do for the trajectory of your offseason? Obviously, the thing to remember is that this does not win you any games in January. There are no games to be won. You still have to draft. There's still many positions on the staff to figure out. But so far, early returns on Mike Borgonzi getting to do this from our understanding almost entirely his way. You got to feel pretty good about it. It's as optimistic about a Titans season where we have many, many months to talk about all the different things that they have to do as I can remember feeling in some time. Now, I've gaslit people that way before because I'll be honest, I was excited about the Brian Callahan thing. I really thought that was going to work. Turns out I knew about as much as they did as far as that, how that was going to pan out and all the different pitfalls that Brian Callahan would have in his first year. But this feels different, right? This is a proven commodity coming in here with quarterback experience, a plethora of quarterback experience, here to help save your number one overall pick at quarterback from his surroundings.
If you asked a Titans fan, if you polled Titans fans the day after Brian Callahan was fired, what's your best case scenario? I think many of them would have said Robert Saleh, head coach, Mike McDaniel, offensive coordinator.
Yes.
That was a pretty common trend, right?
And Daboll had not yet been fired by the New York Times.
Daboll?
Correct. But as that evolved throughout the course of the season,
I don't see you back there.
I think if you took away Mike McDaniel and presented Brian Daboll like Table instead,
Daboll?
people would have been pretty ecstatic. In fact, Brian Daboll, a more accomplished career as an offensive coordinator than Mike McDaniel. He's been in the league for longer.
Since 2000.
Yeah, he's had more opportunities. But this is a good place to be as a Titans fan when all you have to think about is the possibilities moving forward with the three-headed monster now in charge of your offense, defense, and special teams in Saleh, Daboll like Table, and John Bones Fossil. And it's even got you sunshine pumping. How about that, Bert?
Yeah, I didn't want to do this today, but I talked to corporate. I talked to the people who are above our social media engagement. And in lieu of your recent articles and recent hopping of the bandwagon, I and the cumulus authorities that be believe that you need to go through a rebranding of sorts because there are such negative connotations with the name Buck after the last 3 years of just bad football.
Whose fault is that?
Well, it's through no fault of your own. I mean, no one is claiming that this is your fault, but it is your opportunity to move in the correct direction. That is why I and Cumulus approved of a rebranding. If you are going to remain positive and enjoy the trends that the Titans are leaning into, you will no longer be known as Buck. You would be affectionately known as Chuck. And this would become the Chuck Reising Show. That way we can wipe away all of the negative thoughts and the negative connotations about this show and the relationship with the Titans. So from henceforward, if you would like to continue being positive about the changes that are being made with the Titans, the roster, the organization, you will henceforth be known as Chuck. Just put that into your verbiage when you're reading your liners. And next hour, we will be the Chuck Reising Show.
When's the last time we read a liner around here? You just quit doing that
When's
after
the
a while?
last time we got one?
True. I don't think we've gotten them in a long time.
So,
we'll be at T-Line February 12th. I know that.
all right, very good.
Whole station. Be fun.
Chuck will also be there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. No, I'll be there.
Well, when callers call in, they should also refer to you as, hello, Lucas, hello, Chuck.
All right, so if I want to do a negative Titan segment, I can be Buck.
Oh, it's 1 foot in or in or out. Pick it.
Oh,
you know
no,
when your parents used to say.
No. That's not how this works. That's, if they do bad things, we say that they did a bad job. When they do good things, we say that they did a good job. It's not 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
So you would like a Jekyll and Hyde situation?
I would like a fair and balanced situation.
As all things should be. Okay, so I think that right now, I think we can all agree that there is a more positive light on the Titans. So
Today,
I think right now it would be okay to rebrand the show as the Chuck Reising Show moving forward. Give me some Chucks in the chat. If the chat is, and we're for the people.
This is just your way to gin up a YouTube interaction.
No, it's not. You stop that. If the chat is cool with this, I need a bunch of Chuck Risings in the chat, and we can move forward with this, and I will start to produce some new imaging for the show.
Somebody on YouTube said Chuck Reising sounds dirtier for some reason.
That's just your mind, Jess. Get out of the gutter. This is a new Chuck. This is a new show. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. And I'm feeling good.
Bum.
Hell yeah.
All right. So it is a new day because an offensive coordinator, a former head coach, picked you over the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll talk about it next. Nothing worse than a plumbing, heating, or HVAC emergency, electrical emergencies even. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost, or if it'll get fixed correctly, or if someone is just trying to sell you something. That's when you call Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. The price you're told is the price you'll actually pay. There's no hidden fees or surprises on your bill. Hiller has been in business for over 35 years and is family-owned and operated. Their techs are professional, experienced, and trustworthy. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time. No more wasting time waiting around. 100% satisfaction guaranteed of happy you'll be, or the service is free. That is the Happy Hiller promise, of course. So book online today at happyhiller.com.
So the head coaching carousel spins, only 2 horses that are left unmanned on the carousel. However, with every head coaching move, it feels like there's a domino to a coordinator move across the NFL, like the Browns hiring Todd Monken, leaving John Harbaugh and the Giants without their preferred offensive coordinator candidate. Brian Daboll coming to Tennessee. He certainly will not be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. There will be at least 18 new offensive coordinators next season in the NFL, more than half the league. And 9 of those 18 have yet to be filled. And that includes the Philadelphia Eagles, who wanted Mike McDaniel. He said, nope, I'm going to L.A. Understandable. Going to go work with Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. A chance to push Justin Herbert over the hump in the postseason. And then there's the Philadelphia Eagles, who just can't seem to get anybody to come in and call plays for Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown under Nick Sirianni, less than 2 years removed from winning a Super Bowl. How toxic is the situation in Philly for nobody to seem to want that job and to prefer blank slate situations instead of walking into a roster that should be a ready-made winner in Philadelphia?
It's a really interesting story. Like, I don't know, it's not the biggest story in football right now. Obviously, we got a Super Bowl ahead. There's a million different coaching hires going on. But this is one of the most important underlying stories for the 2026 NFL season is why the hell does nobody want to be the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator? So let's think about this on face value. Is there a single thing that Tennessee, let's just take, and for what it's worth, because I think just to be fair to the Eagles, and we don't know this to be true or not true either way, Jeff McClain, who's been in Philadelphia for 100 years as one of the Philadelphia Eagles media members, reported yesterday that Daboll, I'm going to do that 100 million times.
Like Daboll?
That Daboll, according to Jeff McClain, was never even offered the Eagles offensive coordinator job, though he was considered one of their top candidates, but never actually received an offer. But I don't know how many different options Philadelphia is going to have at this point in time, because a lot of people have turned them down, whether they've offered the job outright or not, turned down interviews, pulled themselves out of the job running for this particular situation. Is there a single thing? And so, assuming that Daboll could have had this job if he wanted it, is there a single thing about Tennessee's roster that's more attractive from an offensive standpoint than Philadelphia's?
Nothing proven. No. Now, the concept of making his mark and having complete ownership over the offense with the young quarterback and a blank slate roster could potentially be more appealing than fitting into whatever square Philadelphia wants you to fit into as the offensive coordinator. There's a lot of moving parts and pieces there. Players that he has familiarity with, by the way, like Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts, who he's coached at different stops. So conceptually, he could prefer one over the other, but in terms of what's proven already in-house, no, of course. You'd be hard-pressed to find anything that matches up. I'd say Philadelphia is more talented offensively than L.A. is with the Chargers.
Well, that's what makes that loss to the San Francisco 49ers in the postseason so embarrassing for them. They're clearly the more talented team. They're the healthier team by a mile, and they lost at home to that wounded animal Niners team. And a lot of people lost to that Niners team this year. But still, Philadelphia should and will take that personally. So much so that they fired the offensive coordinator, who they didn't seem overwhelmingly pleased with during the season. Is there something to the idea, because somebody, and it's just one person, Presidential BC on YouTube, says the Titans have a better quarterback, which is obviously not true. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl champion. Cam Ward was not better than Davis Mills when they played head-to-head last year. And it doesn't mean that Cam Ward won't be a better quarterback in the future. We have no idea. But today, Jalen Hurts is the better quarterback. We all agree.
Of course.
Is there something to the idea of an offensive coordinator looking at a player that he's worked with Sirianni, too, in previous stops before this. So Jalen Hurts and Sirianni have crossover with Daboll. For what it's worth, Robert Saleh has no crossover on staff, on another NFL coaching staff with Brian Daboll. Their relationship is because they both coached in New York, and apparently they got along. I'm sure they were in a bunch of different settings together at various points during their respective time there. So he knows Jalen Hurts. He was the offensive coordinator for him in 2017 at Alabama. But Jalen Hurts is who Jalen Hurts is, right? We know what the ceiling for Hurts is, and that's champion, right? Pretty high ceiling.
Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty high. But Jalen Hurts is a known commodity. We know everything. We agree that we know everything that we're going to know probably about Jalen Hurts as an NFL player at this point in his career.
I think so, which is a damn good career, a championship-winning career.
Right. It's excellent. But the idea that as an offensive coordinator, you might be able to work with a player that's a little more malleable, moldable, right? As far as what you believe his skill set was when you looked at him in the draft and said, yeah, I'd greenlight trading up to go get that quarterback at number 1 overall from Tennessee, as the former coach of the New York Giants, who, according to Adam Schefter, were willing to come up on draft night to draft Cam Ward. So this would be a fascinating question for Brian Daboll. I don't know if he would answer it because, like most coaches, he'll probably just defer to, I don't want to talk about other players on other rosters. I want to focus on the job that's in front of me right now.
This is the job that I wanted.
But it'd be curious, like an off the record conversation. Like, hey, as an offensive coordinator, like where you are in your career, what are you looking for right now? Because if you're looking for something that's more ready to go, you would point at Philadelphia and say, yeah, that's it.
Every other offensive coordinator under Nick Sirianni in Philly has gotten a head coaching gig. From Shane Steichen, skip one, to Kellen Moore, skip one, Kevin Patullo fired. And so if that trend were to continue, the next offensive coordinator of the Eagles theoretically would have a fast track to be a head coach in the NFL next year. It's fascinating that they're having this much trouble. Fascinating. The smoke up there has been around the fact that Jeff Stoutland is in place as the run game coordinator.
And legendary offensive line coach. Now, we know a little something about legendary offensive line coaches, right? The legend doesn't always follow them.
Well, sure, but he has also been a huge part of their success in having one of the best offensive lines, of this era.
Absolutely.
They call it Stoutland U.
Right.
Like if you go into Stoutland U, you're going to come out on the other side a good player.
Yeah.
But the smoke up there is offensive coordinator candidates want control of the offense. They want autonomy, and a lot of that would likely mean bringing in your own run game coordinator. And the thought is the Eagles would not move off of not retaining Stoutland. That guy's not going anywhere.
And no, I think that's a pretty fair sticking point to have. You're like, well, I don't know if your offensive coordinator, or rather offensive line coach that you want to bring in, is going to be better than this guy that we know works. Like, we know this works. But that, I would imagine, depending on what kind of offensive coordinator you have, Jeff Stoutland's probably accustomed to doing things a certain kind of way when you've been in that kind of a position for so long. And if you're an offensive coordinator who doesn't run things exactly like the Eagles have always run things, like, I'm not going to cater to your playbook, aren't you hiring me for mine type of situation, it's a rock and a hard place. That wouldn't be such a big condition, I would imagine, that you have to keep this really, really effective offensive line coach. Other than the fact that, do we think there's anything to the idea that Philadelphia can run these guys off? Like, as a fan base, as a city. They just egged Kevin Patullo's house, which means that they know where he lives, which is scary in and of itself. Like, maybe you think that people are decent enough that they wouldn't take it a step too far. I would present to you many instances, especially in sports, where people go too far.
Adam Schefter was on 97.5, a station in Philadelphia, The Fanatic, talking about this situation and dropped some very interesting hints at some changes that could be coming to Philadelphia. Because there's two sides of this, right? There's the job that Mike Borgonzi and Robert Saleh have done in selling this job, and the components of the gig that are in place, like Cam Ward, who we know Brian Daboll likes. There's that side of it, which is an impressive job by Mike Borgonzi and company. And then there's the side of it in Philadelphia, where it's, why doesn't anybody want to try and fit into what's going on there when there's such a clear proof of concept of success? And the proof of concept of failure in Philly right now is losing in the wild card round. Like, that's failure right now under Nick Sirianni, is making the playoffs and losing.
Yeah.
That's a pretty high floor, and we know what the ceiling is. So what's the deal there? And Adam Schefter was on 97.5 in Philadelphia yesterday, or earlier this morning, rather, hinting at something that could be happening in Philadelphia that's pretty big.
We appreciate the time, man,
Thanks,
and we'll talk to you next week. Maybe reacting to an OC hired in Philadelphia. Maybe the smoke will come out of NovaCare. We'll find out soon.
And maybe it'll be even more than that by next week.
Yeah. Will A.J. Brown be traded?
More than that.
We'll
We
see.
didn't ask you this
Wait a minute,
week.
more than that. What are you hinting at?
Maybe it'll be even more than discussion than an offensive coordinator. We'll see.
All
We'll see
right.
what happens here the next
All right.
week.
I'm liking this.
Antennas are up, Shefty.
All right,
Antennas
thank you.
are up. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
There he is, Adam Schefter. All right.
All right, there's the biggest thing.
Finally.
So,
Connor, we can't run there. That's
what could that possibly mean from Adam Schefter?
I love the one host was like, ha ha ha, thanks. And the other dude was like, hold on, don't
let
hang
him
up.
go, you idiot.
You don't just let Adam Schefter say, maybe this could happen, and then just say goodbye. But Schefter, pretty intentional about that stuff.
Well, but
So-
that could literally mean anything.
It could even be a boat. Like, what does that mean?
That's I hate when information
Just
people do
lighting the
that.
city of Philadelphia on fire with that.
Well, and he has a grin on his face the whole time while he's doing it. It was like, I mean, for all we know, it could be that Sirianni's a problem in the middle of a coaching hire and they're going to Trent Baalke him, right? Like, we don't know.
Maybe
that's
Sirianni.
what it sounded like, right? Like,
Do you think it sounded more like that than A.J. Brown traded?
yes, if it was A.J. Brown traded, I think that he would have made a little remark after that other host said something. To me, that sounds like something bigger than your OC. Oh, maybe it's more than the OC. That's how I took it.
Can you imagine? I mean, Philadelphia would probably be happy about it, but like, what's your plan?
Not anymore. Not at this point in the cycle.
That's what I'm saying.
Sirianni just says, bleep it, I'll do it. I'm the offensive coordinator and head coach.
Well, that's your nightmare. That's what they're trying to fend off. That's apparently what was happening with Patullo. Like, they're too close, so he's very comfortable, Sirianni, kind of getting involved, more involved than he probably should with the offensive coordinator position because he's done the job. Ooh, interesting. I mean, it also could mean any other player on their roster. They've got a ton of studs. Like, if they traded Devontae Smith instead of A.J. Brown or something like that, now we're speculating, but I mean, could Lane Johnson retire? I have no idea. That could mean a million different things, you know?
I do think that team is so talented a 4-year-old could coach it. Like,
He kind of seems like it from a demeanor standpoint. 615-737-1045 is the number. So that's a long way of answering a pretty brief question, which is this place, shockingly, the Titans are less complicated than Philadelphia as a job. So you have more wiggle room here without a million different things going on around you and the level of expectation that roster and that ownership group and that city already has. It sounds like a variety of different things that maybe would not be the most stress-free existence if you're a fired head coach looking to rehab your situation and potentially become a head coach again.
I mean, Brian Daboll's the head coach of the offense, right? Like, that's kind of how we're looking at it.
He should be.
Yeah, you have more control over the situation.
Yeah, Robert Saleh is welcome to show Cam Ward all kind of different defensive looks and prepare him in practice and all these different things, but like, Daboll's the guy.
Which probably wouldn't be said in Philadelphia.
Mark is in Clarksville.
Yeah, hey guys. Chuck, Lucas, thank you for taking my call. I kind of want to touch on Daboll's, his reason why he chose the Titans. I know Philadelphia never really extended an offer, but in my opinion, I feel like if he has short-term success, because the Titans' offense has been so bad for the last 2 years, he's going to get a second opportunity to be a head coach quicker than going to Philadelphia with high expectations because of the roster. So just my thoughts. I want to see what you all thought about it.
Yeah, well, think about it. Like, when LaFleur was here in 18, would anybody describe that Titans offense as world beater?
No. We were all pretty surprised when he got the Packers job, I think.
Well, he was interviewing for head coaching jobs prior to that. So when he got picked up to go work with Aaron Rodgers, you're like, oh, for a first-time guy, that's a really complicated situation to kind of step into. And Rodgers was good enough. And also LaFleur was worked in kind of like a partnership capacity with Rodgers as opposed to being a superior, that it ended up working out pretty nicely. He was also up against it here. Remember, I mean, 18 was a disaster from almost the first offensive series. Lawan concussed. Delaney's ankle turned completely the opposite direction. Marcus gets that elbow injury Mariota gets that elbow injury that causes him nerve damage that he has to deal with the rest of the season. The little half glove.
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert had to start multiple games for the Titans that
The
year.
second game of the season, the Miami game, the longest game in the NFL history since the merger. Like 18
That was
a
the first game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But you said second. It was the first game.
No. The second game is when Gabbert started, is what I meant.
Against the Texans. Yeah, where they just
got
finagled their way to a win.
backup tackles on both sides, Byard throwing touchdowns to Dane Cruikshank. It's one of the dumbest games I've ever seen in my life, but they got it done. Either way, the point is LaFleur was up against it in 18, but the offense was tough. It felt like almost a step back. People were talking about it as almost a step back from exotic Smash Mouth. And that was, Malarkey got fired for a couple of different reasons. DeMarco Murray was falling apart at the end. There's a bunch of different contexts there. But Daboll doesn't have to, his point is correct. He doesn't have to be that good here, as opposed to Philadelphia, where you don't win at least a playoff game, right? You failed. A totally different perception of what you step into here versus there. So, I don't know when we'll have an opportunity to talk to staff not named the head coach. They will make them available at some point when the staff is finalized. We will keep you updated on that. Of course, Robert Saleh's press conference will be tomorrow. You have observations?
I do. A few moving parts and pieces in the SEC.
What do I have to give away at 11 o'clock? Do I have anything?
Oh, potentially. It potentially could be a really good. Oh, the Black Crows.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
When's the last time you listened to the Black Crows?
Been a minute.
It has.
Shout out Steve Gorman. Does a lot of work with Cumulus. Black Crows drummer.
So, we will do some SEC observations coming up next.
All right, a lot going on, football, basketball, but before we get to some of the off-field, off-court stuff that has not been a good look for the SEC, we must discuss Vanderbilt's complete demolishing of Kentucky at Memorial Gym yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, from the jump, Vandy had a 20-point lead at halftime, pretty much cruised to an 80-55 win over Kentucky. They improved to 5-3 in SEC play, 18-3 overall. Vanderbilt does, dropping Kentucky to 14-7, 5-3 in the SEC. So Vandy, after that little 3-game blip of a losing streak, have got back on track with a blowout win at Mississippi State and a blowout win over Kentucky at home. Chandler Bing stepping up off the bench. Yes, you heard that correctly. Freshman Chandler Bing out of Atlanta, Georgia, with a career-high 11 points, 27 minutes, a pair of blocks, a pair of steals. Tyler Nickel, Tyler Tanner, the two Tylers with 19 points apiece. And Vandy just went to work against Kentucky, and the Commodores are looking good. Tennessee tonight is in action at number 21 Georgia, a stingy Georgia team. Last time Tennessee was down at Stegman, Dalton Knecht hung 36 in a comeback effort. Hopefully Tennessee does not need that kind of individual effort to come back. Nate Ament trying to build off a dominant performance, 29 points, career high at Alabama Saturday in a win. That is 6 p.m. tonight. Of course, you can hear the Vol Network call right here on The Zone. Mike Keith and Chris Lofton.
Do you know the last time, just to go back to the Vandy-Kentucky game, necessary win for Vanderbilt. They obviously had not the kind of start to conference play that they would like to have. Kentucky is a team that is very bizarre and underperforming. Again, they had one of those weird inbounding sequences last night. They've had a couple of like brain fart moments this season that are just very, they look poorly coached, frankly. And that's a tough situation for Mark Pope, who maybe he'll figure it out. But right now, I'm sure Kentucky fans are furious with both knowing what that roster makes and seeing the way that it's underperformed. When's the last time you remember Vanderbilt beating Kentucky like that in basketball? It had, I think ESPN had a stat, ESPN Stats and Info. It's the largest halftime lead that Vandy has had over Kentucky since a February 12th, 2008 game where they led 40-11. They went on to win 93-52. But you don't see Vanderbilt handle Kentucky basketball that way the last couple of years.
Well, they split last year's matchup. And then remember, Jerry Stackhouse beat Kentucky twice, once in the regular season, once in the SEC tournament in the 22-23 season.
Sure, but I'm talking about beating a snot out of them.
But yes, for sure. Vandy, though, I will say, is 3-3 in the last 6 meetings. So Mark Byington has one of those, 4-3 in the last 7 after last night. So, yeah, Vandy's starting to even out the recent matchups. But, yeah, no question. Huge win. Kentucky was starting to get on a bit of a roll, by the way. Like, they were on, I believe, a 5-game win streak. Yeah, 5-game win streak, including that comeback win over Tennessee. They were just coming off a home win against Ole Miss, and they got to go to Arkansas and face Coach Cal on Saturday, trying to bounce back from that Vandy loss.
Nate Ament needs a repeat performance. Maybe not a career high. He just had a career high for Tennessee in their last game against Alabama. But if I'm a Vols fan, I need to see him have some level of consistency to build off the performance. And again, he's a young player. He'll have some ebbs and flows to his season, especially this early on. But we're at the point now where I'd like to see him turn into somebody that can consistently be relied upon. And this would be a huge opportunity tonight against a quality Georgia team.
I mean, it's no question Tennessee needs the offense to run through Jacoby Gillespie and Nate Ament, which it did at Alabama. It wasn't just Ament. Gillespie put up 24 in that game.
They both were awesome.
Yeah, he was excellent. So that just needs to be more consistent, to your point. They don't have to combine for 55, 60 points night in and night out, but they do have to drive this offense forward. There's no question about that. They don't have the kind of scoring balance where they can get away with Nate Ament having a bad night against a quality SEC opponent, especially on the road.
Gillespie leading them in points, assists, and field goal percentage so far as a team. Side note, just because if we're going to talk a little college basketball, because you were going to move on to football portal stuff here in a second. Yes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Indiana beat Purdue last night at Assembly Hall, which gives me as much sports joy as I've had in an 8-day span as any time I can remember.
Kurt Signetti was kissing babies.
He was kissing babies. He was getting the crowd fired up. It makes me, it was cool. They showed the interception to end the game in the national championship on the Jumbotron in Assembly Hall. Did you see this clip I said to the group where Signetti gets the defensive back who's standing in the back of the tunnel. He pulls him out to look, hey, they're showing your play. You see how much it was a very vibes-filled win last night. And I know that Tennessee fans and Indiana fans can be united in that we all hate Purdue. So it makes us very happy when they lose.
It's
Continue.
different. Tennessee's run into Purdue a few times and has had trouble, both football and basketball. It's definitely not the rivalry that IU-Purdue is, but I get your point.
Oh, it's
cool
so
to
good.
see Kurt Signetti just kind of taking it all in, though. I do appreciate
Bunch
that.
of nerds.
JL Sav in the F&M Bank chat says, could Chandler Bing have a better release? It's good stuff. So, the SEC, we've talked about it, is kind of down right now. Football-wise, especially, it was not a banner year for the Southeastern Conference. Did not perform well in bowl season, for whatever that's worth. And now we're on
What a shame, Robert.
3 consecutive
What a pity.
For whatever that's worth.
Big Ten champion.
When does he start to carry water?
For whatever that's
Well,
worth.
now hang on just a minute. Because I do think there are, and there was a good piece on Sports Illustrated written about this by Pat Forty that kind of brings 2 pretty ugly situations to the forefront and holds them up together and asks Greg Sankey, what's going on here? The headline is SEC's latest scandals ask an uncomfortable question, where is Greg Sankey? He is referring to both the Alabama situation with Charles Bediako, where they used a local judge that is an Alabama booster, a local judge ruling to grant a temporary restraining order, which we all know by now, allows Charles Bediako to be temporarily eligible after coming back from the G League, something that has never happened before. We've seen this in college basketball. James Najee was an NBA draft pick. He did not have any NBA nor any NBA G League minutes under his belt. All of his playing experience happened in Europe. Yet still, it was a big banner moment. And then Alabama takes it a step further with a guy that's had about 3 years of actual professional experience in the United States coming back to the college game because a donor to the university happens to be a judge that granted this TRO. Pretty big red flag, not to mention the judge's wife, the lawyer that represented Darius Miles, the Alabama player that is about to be tried for capital murder. So, there's that going on. Not a great look.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Yep. NCAA has tried to intervene here and tried to not force the judge, but have the judge recuse himself for what is such an obvious conflict of interest here. And then there's the Ole Miss situation that Robert brought to light yesterday in the brazen, obnoxious level of tampering with Clemson linebacker Luke Farrelly. Tampering happens. We understand that. There are back channels, there are texts and calls made to players and players' parents and all of these things.
The head coach leaning in on Twitter is crazy.
The head coach, basically bragging about it, posting shark emojis on Twitter. The head coach privately messaging the player, asking him what his buyout is after the portal has closed, after the player is enrolled at Clemson. It's easy for us to point and laugh at Dabo and say, oh, look at that. He dips one toe in the portal and this blows up in his face. But Dabo has every right to be fuming about something like this.
It can be both wrong and objectively hilarious.
Well, we can draw a line between, listen, that's just kind of the name of the game. You got to do what you got to do to win. And then there's also a point where it's just going way too far. And this Ole Miss situation with the linebacker Luke Farrelly is going way too far. So, it's not a great look right now on the basketball side and on the football side with the Southeastern Conference trying to cut these corners and taking advantage of this wild, wild west we're in college athletics, but taking that to a whole new level coming off of a football season where you had a 3rd straight Big Ten national champion.
That's an interesting perspective for Pat Forty to take, what's Greg Sankey think about all this? The silence is deafening, as they say. Is there something to the idea that this is the way that the SEC has operated in some form or fashion in its entire existence, but now that it's being made essentially legal, that, it's one of those situations where it feels like the inmates are running the asylum a little bit, yeah?
Sure. And it's been that way, but
so
now it's
what
just
is
being
Greg's-
taken further and further and further.
But Greg Sankey's been like this moral, I don't know, maybe I don't want to describe him as moral high ground guy because he's always at the core been.
I think that's fair. Like
He's like the SEC's representation of morality, right? He's like, no, we're doing everything by the book. We're doing everything that we can to benefit our conference, rather. And now he's
Well, he's the guy that wants to do things that are for the betterment of the sport, right? He talks about that all the time. He's not just thinking about the SEC. He's thinking about the betterment of the sport as a whole. And we have not heard from Greg Sankey on either of these issues. And I don't envy him in these moments when his job is to be a representative for his member institutions. But what happens when your member institutions are so clearly and obnoxiously and loudly not just bending, but breaking the rules that are there, but the rules aren't, I don't know, fixed enough? The guardrails aren't sturdy enough for anything to actually happen about it. What do you do here if you're Greg Sankey?
Well, let me ask you this as a SEC football fan, a sports fan, either of you, if you think that the audience would respond to this or if this is just the way that I'm thinking about it. I think this is why it's so important to have independent media, because until somebody mentions, what's Greg Sankey think about this? Like, is Greg Sankey a talking point around all of this until Pat Forty writes a column? Like I hadn't thought about Greg Sankey and all this until he wrote
and
maybe somebody, maybe I'm giving way too much credit to a journalist, a columnist, essentially pointing out a point that needs to be made. But like, this is how you hold the people in power accountable. For those of you who, and I don't want to be the media guy grandstanding for media guys. Look how important journalism is. But like, this is a problem. If you want these kind of problems solved, these are the kind of things that have to be done to, smoke these kind of people out. So good on Pat Forty.
That's all we got.
Okay, very good.
Oh, real quick, Pete Thamel just tweeted, the motion to recuse the judge, James H. Roberts Jr., in the eligibility case of Alabama's Charles Bediako has been granted. A new judge will be assigned to the case, and the NCAA he mentions the NCAA filed the motion to recuse him, and that has been granted. So, new judge assigned. We'll see what happens. See just how short-lived Bediako's time back in college hoops is.
They can't keep getting away with this. All right. Robert, remind people what we have to give away.
We have tickets to go see the Black Crowes 5/21 of this year. Loud, raw, real, the way it was meant to be. The Southern Hospitality Tour is coming to Bridgestone Arena with the Black Crowes and Whiskey Myers. Sign up now for your seated pre-sale to unlock an exclusive unreleased song by both bands. General on sale Friday, February 6th at 10 a.m. But you don't have to worry about the pre-sale because we've got tickets for you right here.
It's She Talks to Angels, right? People's favorite Black Crow song. Like, that's the one that comes up the most.
I don't even know that song.
Yeah, you do. You've heard it.
You sing me a little bit.
Well, I'm not going to do that.
Just like a touch of it.
No, we can do that coming up next.
I thought it was hard to handle. That's what I think of when I think of the Black Crowes. We'll workshop it.
Go. If you're noticing issues with ED or performance, then your relationships, your confidence, and even your career may have already been affected. Guys, no more excuses. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is the state's first men's health-focused urology practice. Multiple urologists and providers focus solely on male performance. Online folks will promise you convenience and discretion, but their treatments are generic and some even unsafe. No unproven snake oil or peptides without solid research at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Since 2014, they've pioneered men's health in Tennessee and have been testing and growing to make sure you get the best care and the safest, most effective treatments. Call 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 right now, or book online in under 30 seconds at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
11:04. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. It is official. The Titans have hired Brian Daboll to be the offensive coordinator under Robert Saleh. Daboll, the former head coach of the Giants, steps into his fifth offensive coordinator job in the NFL. The introductory presser for Robert Saleh will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Another head coaching opening has been filled in the NFL as the Cleveland Browns are hiring former Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken for his first NFL head coaching opportunity. 2 open jobs remain in Arizona and Las Vegas. The Nashville Predators fell in overtime on Tuesday, 3-2 at the Bruins. Road trip continues tomorrow at the New Jersey Devils. And in college hoops, Vanderbilt routed Kentucky at home, 80-55. Both Tyler Nickel and Tyler Tanner, 19 points as Vandy improves to 5-3 in SEC play. Meanwhile, the Vols on the road tonight. They face number 21 Georgia in a game that was delayed by about 24 hours due to the icy conditions in the Southeast. Tip-off at 6 p.m. tonight. You can catch the Vol Network coverage right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Six 615-737-1045 is the number if you want a pair of tickets to the upcoming Black Crowes concert. Tell us the dumbest thing in sports this week. Mine's pretty easy. I'll take the layup. Bill Belichick should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So this came out yesterday where Adam Schefter first reported the news that Bill Belichick fell short of the 40 out of 50 votes needed for induction in his first year of eligibility. So more than 10 people of the 50 people responsible for electing the Pro Football Hall of Fame did not vote for Bill Belichick in year one. Now, I was frankly surprised that this was not completely unanimous. And maybe, it's me underestimating like the two of you were trying to tell me on Monday with the Patriots being back in the Super Bowl and me feeling like this is a Patriots team that people are rooting for. People hate the Patriots and Bill Belichick. And people hate Bill Belichick. Clearly. His peers, at least some version of them and some level of media, hate Bill Belichick. But for this man to not be a no-brain induction to the Hall of Fame, a unanimous entry into the Hall of Fame, they found the one way that they can hurt him, right? This is somebody who's famous for being one of the biggest football historians out there. Grew up in it, son of a coach, all these different things, lifelong football fanatic. And really the thing that he seems to care about the most is his legacy as a coach. This is a good way to hurt somebody like Bill Belichick if you feel the need to be that kind of petty. I think it's disgusting. I think that the people who didn't vote for Bill Belichick should have their votes reexamined. In fact, Robert brought up the voting list of 50. It looks like it hasn't been turned over in 50 years for as many of these people who, again, it's from a different time in media, at least from the media standpoint. I'm also shocked that there's people who are allowed to work for teams who are voting in the Hall of Fame or voting on the Hall of Fame at this point in time. You've got how many different team writers represented out of the 50 people that are selected, are Hall of Fame selectors? Raiders, Panthers. There was one more, at least.
Bengals, I believe.
Yeah.
Bengals.
I mean, we've got a part owner of an NFL franchise that's operating a coaching search right now that's in the broadcast booth every weekend. So,
yeah, but people are right. But people are talking about, things that need to be reevaluated. Turns out the Hall of Fame voting process is one of them. This is as unanimous as I've seen social media be about one particular subject in quite some time.
Because he's obviously going to be a Hall of Famer, so it's hard to look at anything other than just the pettiness of it all and knowing that it's going to irk him, and it should.
But this is like Bob Kraft. Bob Kraft's not in the Hall of Fame yet. Bob Kraft absolutely should be in the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame. And people hold Spygate mostly, and then I guess Deflategate afterwards, against them like steroid users in baseball. It's insane to me. He's the best coach in the history of the sport, is he not?
Yeah.
Most accomplished.
Yeah, he's the most accomplished. It's not really close.
I mean, that's why I was combating it. Is like if he was thought of when he was coaching as the best coach in history, what changed to like who is now the greatest coach in history?
Yeah.
If he is no longer the greatest.
I think it's the dumbest thing in sports by a mile.
It is. It is. And there's more to this that we'll dig into coming up with headlines, what Bill Polian said, what he didn't say, and the process behind. What do we have?
A little bit of NFL news.
Cardinals or Raiders?
Neither. After the Browns, Tom Pelissero, after the Browns informed defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz this morning they were passing him over to hire Todd Monken as head coach, Schwartz was visibly upset, said goodbyes in the building, and told other coaches he's not coming back, sources tell NFL Network.
Okay, I'm happy again.
Interesting.
He's taking his ball and going home.
So you don't want me to be the head coach of this team, but you want me to stay on and do the job that I was doing for the guy who got the job over me.
Schwartz is under contract, and Cleveland wants to retain him, but as Pelissero adds, his future is now unclear. If I'm Myles Garrett, I'm pissed.
He is under contract. So the Browns could choose to not
He could quit.
grant interview requests. Yeah, I mean, he would just have to quit.
Sure.
Interesting.
This is funny because Mary Kay Cabot tweeted earlier today about their coaching hire is that they were trying to get some combination of the three of Todd Monken, him, and the dude from the Rams, Nate Shieldhouse. They were like, how do we get a conglomeration of all three of these guys? And now it looks like they tried way too hard to have their cake and eat it too and pissed off the only guy who knew about what you were running, the stable part of your team last year.
You're so bad at this.
All right.
And here I was. God, I'm an idiot. I will admit to you right now, I'm an idiot because I was like, I like this hire. Like,
Pretty good combo.
if they could get him to come back, like a lot of experience, a lot of play calling, like.
I'm changing my dumbest thing in sports to the Browns for trying to date two girls at once and thinking it was all going to fall perfectly in line for them.
What do you mean, baby? She doesn't mean anything to me. What'd you say? No, I love you too, baby. Come here.
Have the
I broke up with her, baby.
Have the two of you ever tried that?
Two women dating him?
Like dating two women at the same time.
Buddy, I barely get Cheyenne to like me. How the hell am I going to get two women
saying,
to
like,
takes me back?
People who do that on a regular basis are some of the most unhinged human beings I know. Like, it's awful. Awful. Why would anybody want to subject themselves to that? So clearly the Browns have stepped in it yet again.
Why did the Browns think that this was all just going to be peachy? Sorry, Jim. We know you've been looking for that second opportunity. You're in-house. You know all these players. You have equity here. Got you all the way to the final stage of the process, but we're going to go ahead and bring in Todd. But why don't you just stay right there? You're doing a great job. You're doing too good of a job. We can't sacrifice the role that you're doing now and have you take on all these other responsibilities. You're doing too good of a job to get a promotion.
NFL owners. When one of them steps in it, another one immediately pops up with a decision that is hold my beer-esque.
It makes sense to us on the outside because we don't know the temperament of these coaches.
Yeah.
We don't know the way that they're handling this coaching search. But
Because
you would imagine,
we are treating it as, oh, surely they have a plan.
right. You would imagine the guys that are doing personality tests on these coaches and putting them through lie detectors would understand that this would end poorly if he didn't get the job because you're doing all these MIT and Harvard studies, right?
Well, and you know he felt like the job was his, especially
Right.
with all these people pulling out of the job.
God, I love that they're so stupid, man. You need someone. This is Schadenfreude at its best. You need someone else to laugh at to go, at least I'm not that guy.
So he's under contract. We have no idea what the terms of that contract are,
But
right?
if
How
another
many
team
years?
offers him a head coaching job, they don't have to grant him interview request in that situation, right?
None of it's the head coach.
Right. If the Raiders and Cardinals suddenly want to pivot and talk to Jim Schwartz about the head coaching gig, but if they wanted to talk to Jim Schwartz, why wouldn't they have put in a request earlier?
Okay, if you're the Cardinals, are you looking around and being like, oh, I can do this now? I mean, yeah, you're right.
I mean,
He's
you could
been
have done it
available
weeks ago, too.
But again, like, this has devolved poorly for more than one team. Like, what's the Cardinals' best option right now? Did we say Mike LaFleur is in the running firmly yesterday?
Maybe Vance Joseph. I don't know.
And he turned. Clint Kubiak said that he would rather return, or I can't remember who reported this, but it was reported that he would rather return to the Seahawks and be highly thought of in the next cycle than go to Arizona. I think the reason Arizona would not want to do this is they just fired a Jim Schwartz. They just got rid of a dude who had a defense humming.
So, like, Titans fans are immediately going to turn this to, make him Robert Saleh's defensive coordinator, which wouldn't work for a variety of different reasons because it's not a promotion, one. And also Saleh's calling the defensive plays here, too. Jim Schwartz is not going to just take that. I mean, unless he just wants to come home at a certain point, and I can't imagine, he needs to do anything like that. I'm sure he'd rather take a year off.
Tom Pelissero adds this. The 49ers, among others, would likely have interest in Jim Schwartz should he become available and released from his Browns contract. Having to pull it up. Brown's facility the past couple days in anticipation of being named the head coach. He had already told people that if he has passed over, he wasn't staying. So
idiots.
He will have plenty of suitors.
You idiots.
They really bungled this. But
they tried anyway. Just so you know,
he's bluffing.
Yeah, he's not serious.
You don't mean that, Jim.
Well, the Browns, where's he going to go?
Schwartzy, baby. What are we talking about
Jim's
here?
just messing around. He's not going anywhere.
What? I don't want to point laugh at a fan base because, like,
man, some
who has it
franchises
worse than the Browns.
The Jets, but some franchises.
But worse than the Browns, like the Jets have at least had something.
It's a great contest. It really is. But both of those franchises are just the gift they keep on giving. We'll get to the Jets too coming up with headlines.
Why? They were my dumbest thing in sports. But if you're going to include that in headlines,
well, just push them down in the headlines. We can get to them towards the end. What's your dumbest thing in sports, Lucas? Or are you just going with the Browns?
Yeah, that's fine. I was going to talk about Dion with this fine system he's created for his team, but let's go with Cleveland.
There are the Browns.
Really quickly, my dumbest thing in sports, the Jets deciding to part ways with their offensive coordinator 3 weeks after they could have done this. Zach Rosenblatt reported Jets have had planned a change to his role and strip him of play calling, and we're actively pursuing veteran coaches to replace him, but now the Jets will have to go through Rooney Rule process to hire a new OC. It's got to be near impossible when you are competing with other teams that have high-powered offenses like the Eagles, like the Ravens, that are still looking for their OC, and, oh, by the way, your head coach is on the hot seat. Who wants to go work for a dude for a one-year visa where you could end up back on the looking for another job next year? So,
well, much less like that's a real test for Eagles fans. Like, you're going to pick the Jets over us? Go ahead.
Yesterday they did this.
Go ahead.
And by the way, he fired Steve Wilkes as defensive coordinator too
in the season. There were more people that got fired there than just. I think he's fired. I don't know if the special teams coordinator got fired.
It was the assistants.
Is the Gruden thing in the headlines? I don't want to spoil it.
Yep.
Okay, we'll get to it next.
Icicles dripping from the heat of this offseason as it continues to heat up. We have headlines with Lucas Panzica.
So we know by now that Bill Belichick will not be a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Famer. By the way, I will add, he joins a list that includes Vince Lombardi, Bill Parcells, Bill Walsh, Tony Dungy, Bill Cowher. None of those guys were first ballot Hall of Famers.
He's better than all of them.
I know. It just seems bonkers. Just, say Vince names literally
Vince
on the
Lombardi,
trophy.
yeah.
So it is obviously a somewhat flawed process, and Bill Belichick is going to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. There's no debate about that.
Sure, Bob
but
Kraft felt like that too.
the first go-round, he fell short of the 40 votes that are needed out of the 50 votes that are cast. And the attention falls on Bill Polian. ESPN, Don Van Natta Jr., and Seth Wickersham have done a lot of reporting on this. Bill Belichick was, quote, puzzled and disappointed by his inability to secure support from at least 80% of the members, the Hall committee members. The quote from Belichick to an associate, according to ESPN, 6 Super Bowls isn't enough, or excuse me, 6 Super Bowls isn't enough. Was that any good?
No.
Not bad. I knew what you were doing. That's the point of an invitation.
Brought the whole thing to a screeching halt.
To another associate, he said, quote, what does a guy have to do?
That was closer. I liked that.
Okay. So Bill Polian has kind of taken center stage here. The 2 cheating scandals seem to be what has weighed down Bill Belichick here. According to ESPN, Bill Polian, former Bills and Colts general manager, of course, an ardent Kraft supporter, talking about Bob Kraft, a Chiefs-Patriots rival during their dynasty, told some voters he believed Belichick should, quote, wait a year before induction as penance for Spygate, the 2007 scandal, of course, that cost the team a first-round draft pick and had Belichick fined $500,000. Patriots were fined $250,000.
Feels like double jeopardy, doesn't it? He's already been tried for that crime. He's already paid his due.
No, that is literally what this is. Like it's just Bill Polian allegedly being petty.
A veteran Hall voter told ESPN on Tuesday, quote, the only explanation for the outcome was the cheating stuff. It really bothered some of the guys. Polian did an interview with ESPN on Tuesday. He denied telling fellow voters that Belichick should serve a 1-year penance for Spygate. He said he heard his fellow voters, quote, float that idea. Well, I heard someone else float it, but insisted he didn't agree or disagree with the proposal. Hey, what about Spygate? Who said that? That's Bill Polian in the discussions about Bill Belichick. By the way,
your Polian impression much better than your Belichick impression.
Bill Polian quoted, I was shocked to learn Bill didn't get in. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. This reeks of the Tim Robinson, I think you should leave sketch with the hot dog costume.
Yeah.
We're all trying to find the guy who did this. And admittedly, I don't know the exact process. Like, I don't think they're all in a room, right? Everybody's in their respective markets. So
no, they get together.
Do they get together in the same room, or is it a virtual thing?
No.
Do they all fly 50 people to the same room to cast the vote in person?
I want to say that there is a meeting in person at some point in the process. I could text Kaharski.
Yeah, because my question is, at what point would Polian have an opportunity to bend the ear of the other 49 voters? I just assume that they all do it from the safety of their own home.
Stall for 2 more minutes while I text Paul.
There's an ice storm sweeping across a bunch of different parts of the country. Like, how many Hall of Fame voters would have to battle those conditions to go meet in Canton or New York or wherever to vote on this in person? That part of it just seems odd to me, but the whole thing is odd. And it's just one of those things that you shrug and say, and just attribute it to pettiness and say, Belichick will get in the next time around.
I will require the reckless speculation sounder, please. Yeah, Bill Polian's lying. I'm pretty comfortable getting out on the reckless speculation of you saying he's 95% sure he voted for Bill Belichick and a player, most likely Greenwood. Bill Polian, who also made headlines a couple of years ago in 2015. Yeah, we had a first-round grade on Tom Brady. Okay, Bill.
Sure. Sure.
It's just, who also famously still, I think today, believes that Lamar Jackson should be a wide receiver despite him being a two-time MVP. Yes,
Yeah.
Robert? That's correct.
Tough look.
Okay, there are a lot of other news and notes to get to here. Speaking of the Jets, who fired offensive coordinator Tanner Engstrand yesterday, had already fired defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes earlier in the season. They are hiring a new defensive coordinator and Miami passing game coordinator Brian Duker. He takes over to call Aaron Glenn's defense, still searching for an OC. There was this report yesterday from Zach Rosenblatt, who covers the Jets, who we had on the show last week, to talk about Robert Saleh, who reported the Jets reached out to John Gruden about the idea of joining Aaron Glenn's staff. According to multiple sources, Gruden was not interested in the job. Doesn't say what capacity, if it would be to be the offensive coordinator, a consultant, or whatever.
Doesn't matter.
But Gruden said, nah, I'm good.
If you're Gruden, wouldn't you rather? Well, one, he's got this ongoing lawsuit. I don't believe the Jets are involved in Gruden's lawsuit. The Barstool gig that he's got going on right now probably is a better lifestyle at this point. If he's not going to be a head coach in the NFL, which I think is what he wants to be, or a head coach in college, hasn't he talked about potentially wanting to coach in the SEC and stuff like that? I mean, maybe he just says
He has talked about it.
He even noted that he wouldn't mind being a coordinator. I just wonder if the situation
It's
and
the Jets.
spot. Yeah.
Lame duck coach. All the reasons we laid out about the Jets. Like, Aaron Glenn is more likely. He feels like the pre-fired candidate of 2026.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Vibes are so bad. I mean, that's perpetually the case in New York, but no quarterback solution. Good luck finding a quality offensive coordinator.
If you want to grade Robert Saleh on a curve, the Jets' curve is a fair curve.
My goodness.
To grade people on.
What a tough situation that is, where they get one of the darlings of last coaching hire cycle, and it took 1 year for them to make him into the lamest duck coach that's in the NFL right now.
I mean, the amount of Jets fans that wanted the Jets to go ahead and axe Aaron Glenn so they could scramble to hire John Harbaugh, and I don't blame them. It was a disaster last year. He was weird and petty with the media. Just a whole mess.
Yeah, I don't know. Vrabel was like that too at the start. Like coaches at the jump in their first head coaching opportunity. Like I don't love it, obviously, because it's like, hey man, like we're going to be here longer than you in all likelihood. Like let's not. You don't want to do this and have this be the thing that immediately pits you against us, right? That's not a productive relationship.
But in a market like New York, to me, it just kind of signals like, oh, did you not know what this was going to be? Right? If you're Aaron Glenn, I think there was a situation where Rich Cimini, long time Jets beat writer, reported on an injury that
somebody
the team
was on injured reserve or something like that.
Right, and Glenn got asked the question. Garrett Wilson. And Glenn got asked a question about it, and he, why don't you just ask Rich? He clearly knows everything that's going on.
Rich wasn't even there that day. He's just, it's worse that he's not there and you're being confrontational without him in the room.
It's like, oh, you may not be cut out for this. And the dude played in New York. He was a good player. He was drafted by the Jets anyway.
But the only thing that I'll say, again, I'm not defending Aaron Glenn in these situations. You have no idea how much the head coach, when you take the head coaching job, you have no idea how much you're going to have to talk to us.
Yeah.
Like how many different times and different days a week and how many hours you're going to have to spend in front of the vultures. So, yeah, I mean, if you're Gruden, no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks.
Good luck, Jets. Joe Lombardi's out there. The Denver Broncos have fired their offensive coordinator. Bad week for grandsons of legendary NFL head coaches, as Chris Shula doesn't look like he's going to get a head coaching gig. And Joe Lombardi is fired in Denver. Davis Webb keeps being brought up for the Raiders job. If he doesn't get the Raiders job, stands to reason the quarterback's coach and passing game coordinator in Denver would just get promoted to replace the recently fired Joe Lombardi.
I would think.
Davis Webb has had offensive coordinator interview requests with the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Giants. But you wonder if Sean Payton was looking around at where this was all headed and the stock of his quarterback's coach going up, despite coaching in the NFL for less than 3 years, and saying, sorry, Joe, you got to get out of here.
You know their relationship, though? Because that's
whose relationship?
Lombardi and Payton. They've been together for 12 years. So it would be a pretty stunning turn of events if it was just as simple as, we're scared we're going to lose Davis Webb. Joe, get out of here. Thanks for your service, essentially, because he's been 2 different stints on Sean Payton's staff with the Saints and Broncos over 12 years. How the hell do you get fired as an offensive coordinator in a situation like that where you have clear and obvious ties to your boss when your boss is the play caller?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I think it just tells you about Davis Webb and they're willing. What has to happen to keep Davis Webb in the building? That's my reckless speculation about it.
I just think that would be a really, I think you need a.
Like, what else would there be, right?
No, I know. It's fair of you to think that, but I'm telling you, 12 years among NFL head coaches where these guys bring their people with them everywhere, this dude would, again, have to be McVay in some form or fashion for you to be so comfortable just cutting ties with your boy.
Speaking of play-calling head coaches, Mike McCarthy has certainly done that in the past. Oh, I'm not sure, actually. I failed to check and see if he was asked about this yesterday at his introductory press conference in Pittsburgh, if he's going to be the offensive play caller for the Steelers. We'll check on that, but he was, of course, asked about Aaron Rodgers, and this was the exchange yesterday with Mike McCarthy being introduced as the head coach of the Steelers.
Mike, Tim Benz over here from Trib Live. Question, just a football one for you. I'm not asking this from any other perspective except your own personal preference. In your best case scenario, do you want Aaron Rodgers back as your quarterback next year?
That's nice the way he asked that, right? That was slick. But I mean, definitely. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. But I think just like anything, knowing Aaron long enough, going through seasons, I think when players, to see Mel Blunt here, I mean, when guys are up at that stage of their career, they need to step away and decompress it. I think that's very important. The game is so emotional, what these men commit to and what they put into it. I think that time away is important, and I have spoken to Aaron, and so that's really where we are there. But I was able to sit back and watch the games. I watched most of the Pittsburgh games on TV, and I thought he was a great asset for the team.
So, Mike McCarthy asked about Aaron Rodgers, if you would want him back. Definitely. I don't see why you wouldn't. McCarthy did confirm in the presser that he will call plays in Pittsburgh. So now we wait. Here we go. What are the odds?
That's literally what he said. As he said, that's like the Steelers phrase, right? Here we go. He sits down, he's rubbing his hands together. Here we go.
Yet another
McCarthy.
team held hostage by Aaron Rodgers' decision. It's just happening for a second straight year in Pittsburgh. What are the odds Rodgers decides what he's going to do in 2026 in a timely manner?
Oh, no. We'll see you guys in, I don't know.
August 30th. Yeah. August 30th, we will have a
August 30th.
Unbelievable.
Will Howard takes all of the first team
After
reps.
2 preseason games.
Literally a deja vu from last year.
Was it that late last year?
Well, I don't know exactly when we learned that Rodgers was signing with
it wasn't until training camp was well underway, right, when he ultimately signed.
It was like the worst kept secret. Like, everybody knew it was happening, and it was like, come on, man. Just do it. If you're going to do it, just do it.
That's not how he works.
Mike McCarthy, has anybody checked on him? I'm surprised he didn't walk into that press conference with chains on. He looked like the ghost of Christmas past. He looked so pale and fat. I don't know. He just didn't look healthy. It's like that AI picture of him at the bar smoking cigs. It looks like that's what he's been doing, waiting for head coaching opportunities.
You feel comfortable making that allegation of people?
Yes, he's one of my people. I'm fat. I can call people fat. That's our word.
I wasn't saying fat. I mean, I guess he's about as pink as you are.
It wasn't even pink. That was baby powder. That was he's a judge in 1776. Like that, he had a powdered wig on.
The only thing that made him look younger was standing next to his parents.
The only color,
press conference.
The only color that was in his face was the colored splotches from how
cold in Pittsburgh, full flushed.
Like his cheeks. I don't know. He just didn't look healthy.
Pittsburgh native, back home. Rodgers did sign with the Steelers on June 6th last year, so well before the start of training camp.
Okay, so he signed before mandatory stuff, which is when he took his trip to Egypt in June with the Jets.
That was with the Jets, yeah.
God.
Yeah. So
those are the headlines?
Doing it all over again. Those are the headlines. 2 jobs left, Arizona and Vegas.
I do have a little update on a rumor that we heard earlier. Not a rumor, it was Adam Schefter, but dropping an ambiguous hint about what would be coming up for the Eagles. Maybe there would be more than an offensive coordinator signing next week. Anthony Daboni, who writes for a Philadelphia Eagles website, says Adam Schefter knew what he was doing when he dropped that message on 97.5 The Fanatic. My guess is one of 3 things. Eagles stadium changes, which would be such a pump fake. Jeff Stoutland is retiring, which would be a huge hit. or Lane Johnson is retiring.
Well, that's what I said earlier.
So Schefter knew vagueness would lead to talks about Nick Sirianni and A.J. Brown. I do not think that is the case. That was Anthony Daboni, not my opinion.
What would be a bigger deal, Stoutland or Lane Johnson? Because Lane Johnson's getting up there in age. He was hurt for a little bit of last season.
He's been hurt for a little bit of every season, it feels like.
And their offensive line fell off a cliff last year.
I'd say Stoutland. It would be it'd be an end of an era either way, but Stoutland apparently has been a big holdup in their OC search.
Can you imagine if he was
like, oh, you're just going to retire? All of that?
Wish you would have told us that 4 weeks ago.
Well, if it's a forced retirement, what if they're like, hey, Jeff?
Maybe.
Like, come on, bud. We can't do this forever. Although, I don't know. That would be a tough situation to navigate.
Though he was a great offensive line coach, he could never fix Andre Dillard.
Nobody could, bud.
What's he up to?
His best.
No, not
doing
even.
his best.
You know what?
Free
Have you
agent.
ever? Yeah, for sure.
At this point, yes. I don't think anyone maintained a contract.
Has not been on. He was on the Niners practice squad
like twice
as late as October 30th.
Yeah, but think about how hurt the Niners had to be to call up Andre Dillard.
And
But
he
that's
had
the
two
last time.
stints. MPF was only there for one, so.
Well, and imagine being worse than Andre Dillard. NPF. God. Have the two of you, because I know we have to go to break and talk about current staff experience here in a second, but have the two of you ever actively felt bad for an NFL player? Like just watched him out there and been like, man, I just kind of feel like
You talk about the Dillard Myles Garrett thing. Yeah.
But have you ever experienced that feeling where you're just kind of like, oh, buddy?
Yeah, Tariq Cohen. You guys remember him, the running back for the Bears?
He was awesome.
Dude, he
for
was
a minute until he got all kind of hurt.
just hurt, dude. Just got beat up and then fought back to the NFL, got on like the Panthers practice squad and got hurt again. Like, I feel bad for that guy 10 times over.
Dillard was mine. He's a perfectly nice human being, but oof. Tough scene. All right. What's the difference between this Titans coaching staff and the previous Titans coaching staff? It may seem obvious. We'll tell you what it is next. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. The best hot chicken in the world. What better way to warm up? We're starting to thaw out a little bit. Is the sun still outside? I make everybody close the windows in here when we're in here. But it looks like we are at least getting a little bit of melting outside. Should get above 32 degrees today for the first time in quite some time. I know this must be awful for you. You who enjoys the 90-degree humidity, just sit out there and sweat.
It could be worse. I have safe haven. I have great friends that have taken me in.
You still don't have power?
Oh, yeah. A lot of folks. There's about 100,000 people around here that still don't have power.
Man, I am just living in a bubble. I did not miss power at all.
Yeah, and a lot of folks have it worse than me because they don't have anywhere to go. There are warming shelters around town, but yes, I imagine I'm going to be one of the last to get fixed because it's just my house. It's the power line connected to my house that is currently pinned down by a tree. My neighbors to the left and right have power. So I am bottom of the priority list, which is fine. Like, I totally understand. Go take care of the biggest mass of people you can, and then we'll get down to the people like me that are just the one-offs.
We haven't even talked about his Dr. Doolittle Noah's Ark-esque living situation.
Do you want to? Because we can talk about current staff experience at the top of the hour.
We have 5 people and 7 pets in one house at the moment.
No. How many bedrooms?
Well, it's a 3 or 4 bedroom house. But both my friends Jay and Bree very well. It's their home.
Theoretically in the chat.
Theoretically in the F&M Bank chat, who frequents the F&M Bank chat on YouTube. And they have their bedroom, the master, and they have 2 offices and a guest room. So it's 2 bedrooms and 2 offices, but we've made it basically a bunch of makeshift bedrooms.
What are you sleeping on right now?
Oh, I'm on a nice little, like, a cot, but better than a cot. It's a fine situation. I'm very grateful. But we've got 4 cats and 3 dogs, including Blue's 16-year-old black lab case.
What must that smell like?
No, it's fine. They're all great animals. None of them are, the smelly, muddy type. They're all fantastic. Honestly, the vibe has been good. Spirits are high. We're just hanging out. It's good company.
Kind of seems like fun to me. It's like a sleepover with all your buddies every night.
It kind of is. I mean, it's every night. It's a sleepover. It's like Foster's home for imaginary friends at this point. Leo,
that's a better comparison than Dr. Doolittle. What a great Cartoon Network elite.
Exceptional.
My cat Leo is making friends, which is nice. He's totally acclimated, and he's just hanging out with their cats, and they're playing and hanging out. So it's been okay.
You've been making dinner every night. It's kind of like a firehouse over there.
Well, tell people about you preparing to go to Jay and Bree's house with Blue. Set the scene, if you would.
We have no power, and we're all leaving, and we have like 3 months left in this house. And my roommate Blue is like packing up equipment. He's an arborist for those who don't know.
He's out there doing the dirty work.
Oh yeah, big week for arborists.
I look at his Instagram stories and I feel bad for him. He's out there busting his ass.
Tree work and climbs trees and trims trees. So he is like packing equipment and flashlights and chainsaws, and I'm gonna go cook for Jay and Bree. So I'm packing like pasta and celery and onions and like tomato sauce.
Just like a scene out of like one of these zombie movies, right? Blue's got the chainsaw. He's got all the things to fight off the monsters, and Lucas is the a fry cook on Oregon Trail or something.
Blue is Aragorn and Lucas is Sam. He's like, I have to have my potatoes, my lembas bread. Mr. Frodo, you must eat something.
Oh, I care. I mean, seriously, like I just had a big dry bag with everything I need: my ground pork, my ground meat, the celery, onion, carrot trio.
I wish I could see the moment that the two of you realized that what you were doing whilst packing up your supplies, being like, this is not the same thing, is it?
Clothes and ingredients is all I packed. It's all I need.
It's great.
And I can go by my house and get stuff as I need it. It's just freezing in there. So I'm very grateful to have a refuge as NES works hard to try and restore power.
Hopefully you get a rebate. Be like, hey, I wasn't able to live in this house. Give me some of my rent money back.
Saving on the power bill.
Well, I understand times have been a little tough for everybody involved outside of Buck, and I took it upon myself. I thought that we needed...
I'm very warm and comfortable.
I thought we needed a pick-me-up as a show. So I ordered something. If you'll both look under your chairs...
What?
There's a gift for all of you. I have one as well. And I thought we could start a new tradition.
Oh.
Why does this look like the tip of a male genitalia?
Well, because it's a bald cap.
No.
Yeah, well, that way, because they are the Dabolls now.
No.
So now I think anytime that we talk about the team, it looks great on Lucas. Hold on, let me put mine on.
I think that's the first thing we found to fit his head.
It doesn't really fit. It's a little small.
You bought bald caps?
Well, that way, anytime they win on Monday, I think we can all wear the bald caps.
Instead of the sad boy radio hats?
Yes, now we will all have bald caps.
How does this work? I got to get the squirrel tail on the front of my head.
Oh, you look great. It even matches your skin tone. We all...
It matches all of our skin tones.
So, like,
So wait, we all look like Paul Feinbaum right now with the Philadelphia Eagles helmet?
Yes, I think that we should wear them in solidarity with the coaching staff because Buck has said that he is not willing to shave his head. So if you're missing out, you need to go to Zone TV right now on YouTube. Check out the stream. We are all bald, and I think we should stay that way for the rest of the show. But in season, whenever they win, I think we all keep these bald caps and we wear them on Victory Monday in solidarity with the coaching staff. And maybe whenever Josh Pate comes in studio or we have a fellow bald. Anytime we have a fellow bald in studio, I think we should wear these.
Somebody is suggesting that I wear that to the presser, and somebody else says bald boy radio instead of sad boy radio.
Bald boy radio!
BBR.
Big Bald Bert! Baby, come on now. This is great. I think we all look killer.
I don't think we would be terrible looking balds.
It's kind of comfortable.
What do you mean it's comfortable? It smells like latex.
No, it's kind of comfy on my head.
People are alleging that you should wear this to the install, Buck. If we have...
You think I'm getting somebody to do the install after everybody keeps getting fired?
Let's wear it to Robert Sala's introductory press conference.
Oh, what if everybody in the media... It was $10 for two of them, dude. Everybody in the media...
Slow down.
Get a bald cap.
Did you not just see what he did? We literally just talked about this, and he didn't hear us.
What did you say? I didn't listen to him.
I read the comment that said, you should wear this to the press conference in the FNM Bank chat. Lucas then completely ignored the comment that was being read aloud and offered it up as his own original idea. What is wrong with you?
I don't see said comment. I think you're making it up. I can't read every comment in the FNM Bank chat.
Oh, you don't? I see you fighting with them all the time.
Yeah, this is great.
Somebody said Lucas looks remarkably like Mike Kafka.
Very bald. He'd be a good fit on this staff.
See, I don't
Where'd
know.
he end up?
He's not an offensive coordinator. He got a job.
Was it with the Lions? I feel
Yeah, Lions.
I kind of feel like we all look like this guy.
Sue-Ann. Jesus. Steve Austin?
What?
No, that's Ross.
What?
Sue-Ann with the best submission. Titans' next giveaway at the game should be a bald cap.
All I'm saying...
Put a flaming thumbtack logo on it.
All I'm saying is we're trying to help y'all do your job. You need to cut us off, break us off a little something. What?
Well, I would argue that we are considerably better at marketing at this point in time, especially since their Ring of Fire thing is most famous for being a hemorrhoid commercial.
Oh,
Don't think that's why Ring of Fire is most famous. But pretty sure it's not.
Many people are saying.
See, they could do Deuce. Have you guys ever seen Bam Bam Bigelow? He was a huge wrestler. He had skulls, flame tattooed on his head.
Assume that we haven't.
I think that's what they should do. They should have a Ring of Fire tattoo on the bald heads.
All right. Well,
these are comfy.
Do we keep these?
You have to keep them and wear
certainly
them.
Nobody's going to take them from us.
I think we have to wear them for the rest of the show. So anyone who was not around for this segment tunes in and just sees us bald.
You know what? I made fun of Lucas. This doesn't really fit on my head.
Come on, dude. My
No, I mean, like it's like I have space at the top because my hair is poofy because I fro.
You have a cone head.
I have a cone head. Again, I look like a penis. 615-737-1045 is the number. There's probably something, some other joke that could be made at my expense in that particular situation. But Daboll. Oh, you weren't ready. We had the bald caps on and you weren't ready. What a shame. Am I waiting for it now, or are you just going to?
I'm over it.
Okay. Okay. Let's talk about
like Table, Daboll. Yep, that's it. I've heard a lot of them.
Expected to see a couple more, buddy. Gonna be like looking into a mirror at that press conference.
what's the biggest benefit of this current staff versus the last one. We'll talk about it next.
It is 12:02. Good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. It is officially official. The Titans have hired Brian Daboll to be the offensive coordinator under Robert Saleh. Daboll, the former head coach of the Giants, steps into his 5th OC job in the NFL. Robert Saleh's introductory press conference will be tomorrow, 2 p.m. at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Meanwhile, another head coaching opening has been filled in the NFL this morning. The Cleveland Browns are hiring former Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken for his first NFL head coaching opportunity. 2 open jobs are left in Arizona and in Las Vegas. College hoops tonight. Tennessee is on the road facing number 21 Georgia. 6 p.m. is the tip-off. You can catch the Vol Network coverage right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
It is the final hour on this Wednesday, and we hope that you're staying as warm as humanly possible out there in the world. Brian Daboll is the next offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans. That deal signed, sealed, and delivered just a little before 4 p.m. yesterday. Our boy Jelly Roll, first on the report. Should we have an NFL Insider appearance with Jelly at some point? No, he's off in Los Angeles taping this Netflix show. Robert, you're our reality TV correspondent around here. Are you familiar with the Jelly Roll? It almost looks like a version of American Idol. Chrissy Teigen is also on it.
Oh, hate her, but love Jelly Roll. What's the? You know what the show's called?
I don't off the top of my head, which is a bad job out of me. I need to do a better job supporting my friend.
I'll do some, is it Star Search?
I believe it's Star Search.
Okay.
I think it's a new show that is American Idol, America's Got Talent adjacent on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yes, it is on Netflix. I'll have to check it out.
All right, very good. Because America also hates Chrissy Teigen. There was somebody sent me a screenshot of Jelly giving an impassioned speech to a contestant and Chrissy Teigen with a resting bee face the entire time. So people are down on her and up on Jelly Roll, which of course we all know. Not to pit them against each other.
Also, you two are out of uniform.
No, I'm not putting it on for the rest of the show.
Come on, dude. Come on. You don't have to wear it again until
Lucas,
they
your
win.
microphone's off.
I didn't say anything.
No, I know you laughed at his joke, which I know he hates when you do when your microphone's off.
I hate it too.
I need that chuckle. But you're both out of uniform.
I'm not putting the bald cap back on.
Okay. Will you put it on in the 20?
No.
What?
You said I only have to wear it
You're not being
if
very
they win
Chuck.
football games.
You're not being very Chuck right now. You're going to breach your contract,
All right,
dude.
for people who missed the first, breach my contract. Go ahead, buy me out. Please tell people that may have missed the first segment the differentiation between Chuck and Buck.
So Buck has been a little uncharacteristically positive about the recent moves the Titans have made with their roster and with their coaching staff. And the cumulus powers that be and I convened and decided that he needed to go through a rebrand of sorts because of all the negativity attached to the name Buck and Titans. So we have affectionately rebranded him as Chuck. If he is going to be positive, this will be the Chuck Reising Show, or what did someone in the chat allege to earlier? Chuck Ascending. You would be.
That was really good. Somebody said in the chat, I now pronounce you Chuck and Lucas.
That's pretty good.
So you not only are out of uniform, you are also in violation of your contract of being positive. So you need to fix those two things, and we can get the show back on the tracks, back on the rails.
We'll see if the callers can't get us back on track, because we will talk about Brian Daboll's resume and why it is an immediate upgrade over the staff that they are replacing. 615-737-1045. In the meantime, if you would like to weigh in, Tiffany is in Antioch.
Yeah, I'm not here to weigh in. I'm here to say you guys are awesome. You guys, my husband called in Friday and wanted tickets to Rascal Flats because I got to come home. I got to come home from the hospital, and y'all said, "Oh no, he should win because she's coming home from the hospital." So greatly appreciate that. That's going to be a great time for us. But also, before I met my husband, I did not listen to sports radio at all. Like, it annoyed me. I would immediately change the station. But just know that you guys, I get in the car and I don't change the station. I listen to sports radio and learn more odd and interesting facts that I didn't know before. I do know sports, so, he's very happy with that because, I'm not the girl that's going, oh, hey, what's this? I don't understand 1st and 10 or 4th down or anything like that. So, just wanted to give y'all some love.
That's very sweet, Tiffany. Are you feeling better?
I am. I just saw the surgeon for my follow-up, so everything's looking good, and go back again next week and see if it's going to continue to get better. So, but yeah, I'm feeling way better than I did this time last week.
Oh, good. We're so happy to hear it. Thank you for calling.
Love you, Tiffany. She would wear the bald cap right now.
Well, she sounds like she's much more of a team player than I am.
We need more of those.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Titans have a new team player in Brian Daboll. He's not going to be on the field for you necessarily in the traditional sense, but he's going to make a world of difference. The resume of Brian Daboll is something that is going to be talked about a lot, and the biggest improvement upon the previous situation, beyond the fact that Brian Callahan was pretty objectively horrible at the job that he was hired to do across a couple of different fronts. With all due respect to Brian the person, it's professional criticism. Daboll has been in the league since 2000. He has been an offensive coordinator in 4 different stops with 4 different franchises. His longest tenure was before he got the Giants job as the Bills offensive coordinator from 2018 to 2021, where he is given some level of credit for the development of Josh Allen into what Josh Allen would eventually become. Of course, the player deserves as much credit as the coach, if not more credit than the coach, for becoming, I don't know, he's a bit of a unicorn. And in fact, a lot of NFL teams feel like they're taking risks in the draft because Josh Allen exists. But Brian Daboll is somebody who has called plays in 4 previous stops. Brian Callahan did not have actual play calling experience in the traditional sense prior to taking the Titans job. The combined experience of the Titans coaching staff, where Robert Saleh has also been in the league since 2005, 2006 with the Houston Texans as like a assistant, essentially, and then worked his way up in a couple of different stints with the Jags, with the Seahawks, obviously with the 49ers, and his time as a head coach with the Jets. It is as good a coaching staff as the Titans have had, with a top 3 of Brian Daboll, Robert Saleh, Bones Fossil, as Lucas brought up the other day, in the early to mid-2000s with Fisher, with Heimerdinger, and with Greg Williams as defensive coordinator. You can maybe make the argument for Vrabel, LaFleur, and Dean Pease, but Matt LaFleur and Mike Vrabel had basically just started.
Yeah, that would be based on what LaFleur has done since his time with the Titans.
And Vrabel. I mean,
and Vrabel too.
That was Vrabel's first season. So after the fact, that looks like a much better situation than it was at the jump. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best.
Dean Pease has never had a head coaching opportunity, correct? Has he ever even been an interim?
No, was he not a head coach in college at some point in his career before he got to the NFL?
He was a head coach at Kent State, but yeah, in the NFL, Dean Pease has not been a head coach. So if I'm not mistaken,
a linebackers coach, he's been a position coach, he's been a coordinator.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that the Titans have, and I could very well be mistaken, but I think it's the first time the Titans have had 3 coaches on staff that have been head coaches in some capacity at one point or another in their careers. Obviously, Daboll and Saleh, and then John Bones Fossil was the interim coach of the Rams after they let go Jeff Fisher in Los Angeles. So we could do some digging on that and see, if there was
how many special teams coordinators
or a position coach that was an interim at one point or another. But lots of experience. Mike Herndon broke it down, comparing it to Brian Callahan's initial staff in year 1.
Colt Anderson.
Where Brian Callahan was obviously the offensive play caller with 0 years of play calling experience. Denard Wilson, rinse and repeat on defense. Colt Anderson, same case on special teams. Combined 0 years of play calling experience between those 3. Robert Saleh, Brian Daboll, and John Bones Fossil have a combined 39 years of experience calling plays in their respective field.
All right. We talked about that, right? Like, we didn't just gloss over the fact that none of them had ever done their respective.
It was a concern. Are you talking about at the time?
I'm just talking about like when it happened. Like I just want to make sure that we didn't gloss over it the way that it feels like. I just don't know how something that glaring could not have been a bigger talking point the whole way through, because I know we did discuss it as a potential concern.
No, it was a talking point. We were still encouraged by the Brian Callahan hire.
I wanted Brian Callahan to be the head coach.
Everything about Brian Callahan, all of the promise about Brian Callahan as the offensive play caller of the Titans was conceptual, right? Was what he could do as a play caller because of the quarterbacks he had been around, the success he had been a part of as a right-hand man for Zach Taylor. None of it was based on proof of concept, and we acknowledged it at the time that you had 3 first-time play callers in the play caller/coordinator roles for the 3 phases. But this is the first time in quite some time that you have legitimate proof of concept with an initial coaching staff. We didn't have much proof of concept of LaFleur. He had not called plays when he came over here with Mike Vrabel.
It was just in that run of McVay acolytes that was getting hired all over the place.
Dean Pease, obviously very established, but Mike Vrabel was a first-time head coach, had only spent 1 year as a defensive coordinator.
But the thing that was encouraging about the situation is when Mike was able to talk Dean Pease out of retiring, right? Robert, he had retired from the Baltimore Ravens. He wasn't fired there.
Correct.
And he was now he then retired again after he left the Titans, only to unretire and join Art in Atlanta.
Well, and then he retired again and then unretired to come back to be a defensive assistant to Zach Orr in Baltimore.
That's right.
In 2024.
DP can't get enough.
It's been a long time since we have had a trio leading each phase that you can legitimately talk about proof of concept. This is what they run. This is what they've done in the past. This is how they've utilized certain players. It's been a while since I think you could say that about the 3 men in charge of those phases on a Titans coaching staff.
615-737-1045 is how you jump in. You can also weigh in, as I mentioned, in the F&M Bank chat, which is on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, where you can see Robert, who is wearing his bald cap. Lucas and I have taken ours off.
Even Arthur Smith, there was no proof of concept there as a play caller. It worked.
No, I remember Mike talking about that at length, that Art basically just walked into his office and was like, hey, if you're interviewing people, I'm here. I've been here for 11 years in some form or fashion. Jameson on the YouTube chat says, Callahan not calling plays at Cincinnati was a major talking point. It wasn't that long ago. You need to take your memory supplements, Buck. No, I'm saying that I remember talking about it. What I'm saying is, like, I'm trying to, in the same way that everybody tries to learn from ways that you talk about things versus how much you knew actually versus what ended up happening, how much can you inform yourself based on past experiences? I just wanted to make sure that we paid enough attention to it at the time and didn't just kind of like throw our hands up in the air. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess he'll figure it out, because that's what I don't want us to do in any particular situation. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's talk about Daboll's Daboll. I'm going to do that every time. I really am. I don't know.
Like Daboll?
Oh,
yeah,
know.
that's it.
I don't want
I've heard a lot of them.
That's from his time at Alabama?
Correct.
He was clearing it up in Tuscaloosa?
Somebody is accusing it of being too country for me to say Daboll.
He's from New York.
No, he's from Canada.
Was he born in Canada?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was from Western New York. I guess that's...
No, it's not the same.
It's basically Canada.
I mean, Niagara Falls is basically Western New York.
Poutine.
It's the 51st state.
He went to high school in New York.
Okay, but he's not from New York. He's from Canada.
Draft dodger.
Like Daboll?
I mean, where are you from? Are you from Canada because you were born there, or are you from New York because you were raised there?
Okay, well, you could. I was born in Evansville, but I lived in D.C. and New York. What do you think I am? I'm from Indiana.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for you.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, would that make you an Alabamian?
Although not yesterday, baby. No, Lucas is absolutely a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's a Bama fan, posing as a Brazilian and posing as a Vols fan.
Yeah, all right, he's Canadian. It's where you were born. Everybody knows that.
What are you, a birther, or what's the whole scandal, birthers or truthers, something like that? I don't know. All right, Daboll's offense next.
Let's play a quick game, shall we? Welcome back. We're fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, HattieB.com, and the Hattie B's app. Warm up with some Hattie B's Hot Chicken, grilled or fried, hot or not, you decide. Great way to escape the cold weather. I'm going to list a bunch of names, and you tell me what they all have in common. Brett Favre, Chad Pennington, Brady Quinn, Derek Anderson, Matt Moore, Chad Henne, Matt Castle, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, Jackson Dart.
Well, that would be new Titans offensive coordinator Brian Daboll. I said it correctly. Don't look at me like that.
You said that would be Titans offensive coordinator Brian Daboll.
Titans offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Brian Daboll.
He worked with all of those quarterbacks, either as a QB coach or offensive coordinator or head coach. I did not include his stint in New England as the tight ends coach when Tom Brady was there, but they were in the same building. They do theoretically have a relationship. By the way, an aspect of this we have not touched on, the idea that Brian Daboll chose to take the Titans job. What?
Like table?
No.
Daboll?
No.
Yep.
Somebody in the chat, because Brett Favre's on that list, said they all stole from the poor.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Chad is on fire today. If you're not hanging out in the YouTube chat, look at Robert. You can't see him. He's falling down.
Brett Favre, not as good of company as it used to be when we had these conversations.
Funny.
But before we get to how Brian Daboll has utilized these quarterbacks, especially as of late, the Raiders part of all of this. Is it more of a situation, you think, that the Las Vegas Raiders seem like they're moving away from Brian Daboll, or that he is in the mix, but they're taking too long and he just wants to get moving?
My understanding is he just wanted to make a decision, and that, theoretically the Raiders could drag this out for 2 weeks if the Kubiak thing is still alive, which it doesn't sound like it is, but theoretically, like, if you're Brian Daboll, it's like, whatever.
Don't have time for all that. Yeah, Blaine made the point yesterday. Daboll and Brady know each other. Yeah. They overlap for years, right? So if you're Brian Daboll and you're having those conversations with Tom Brady.
Brian, what, I'm sorry?
Daboll.
Like Daboll? Yep, that's it. I've heard a lot of them.
If Tom Brady's going to let you leave Vegas, then how much does that kind of color your thought on whether or not you even want that job? If you're not going to hire me right now, I'm about to leave. You don't want to.
Didn't get the Harbaugh treatment. Hell, didn't even get the Saleh treatment, right?
So it's clear he's not that much of a priority in Vegas. So anyway, all of those quarterbacks, he was the QB coach of the Jets in 07 and 08, the QB coach of the Browns in 09 and 10, offensive coordinator of the Dolphins in 2011 with Matt Moore and Chad Henne, offensive coordinator of the Chiefs, where he overlapped with Mike Borgonzi in 2012. Brady Quinn and Matt Castle split the 2012 season, terrible season in Kansas City the year before they hired Andy Reid. And then dipped into college, rehabbed under Nick Saban, won a quick natty, came back up. Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, and Jackson Dart. What quarterbacks do you want to keep it to here? Are we just going to talk about what we most recently saw from Brian Daboll with somebody from Cam Ward's draft class in Jackson Dart? How did he utilize Jackson Dart in a way that highlighted Dart's skill set, and how could that carry over or compare to what he could do with Cam Ward?
Well, let's talk about the two players first and foremost. Where are Dart and Cam comparable? Because one is far more mobile and uses that as a means of generating offense far more than the other. Now, Cam can do it, but
that's the biggest difference for sure.
For sure. Dart is significant. I would say, maybe I shouldn't use the word significantly. Dart is a better athlete than Cam Ward, yes or no? Not a better quarterback, but a better athlete.
From what we've seen, I'd probably
I would
say
argue
yes.
that Dart is the superior athlete. Dart is also bigger than Cam is. So there's a couple of different reasons why Dart plays the way that he does versus the way that Cam operates, because Cam's obviously got a different skill set. Accuracy, and I'm not just talking about completion percentage, Cam or Dart? I'd say Cam.
Yeah.
I'd say Cam on the whole. Now, this year's experience, he was not overwhelmingly accurate. And again, you could cite his completion percentage and be like, that's not a place that I would go. And in fact, Dart's passer rating was greater than Cam Ward's was in two different instances, both just as a standard passer rating and also against the blitz. as far as the offense goes, and again, somebody much smarter than me sent me these numbers courtesy of Sports Radar, so we always appreciate when the show gets a little stats and info help. In terms of Daboll's offense last year, just last year with the Giants, with Jackson Dart, after not getting to draft Cam Ward, which we know they wanted to do, they were fourth in RPO percentage, 13.7%. The NFL average is 8.2, for what it's worth. They were eighth in shotgun percentage at 70. Ninth in 12 personnel percentage, so that's 2 tight end sets at 32.5. 17th in 11 personnel percentage at 60%, which is a far departure from what last year's Titans offense was, where the number or the percentage that they were in 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back, was astronomical. They were leading the league for a period of time, and it was basically the Joe Burrow offense. Now, where would you guess, either of you, that the Titans Freudian slip, that the Giants finished in red zone percentage without looking it up? Robert?
Let's say 28th.
I'll say a little higher because I feel like Jackson Dart was just running in touchdowns in the red zone. Let's say 20th.
27th. Robert, closest to the pin. Where would you say the Giants finished in third down efficiency?
22nd.
21st.
14th.
I was way closer.
So top half of the league, by 7. Top half of the league in third down percentage, which the Titans obviously were not. How much of that is the difference between Jackson Dart using his legs and Cam Ward's unwillingness to, or I don't want to say unwillingness, but it doesn't seem as natural.
Just not a huge part of his game.
It's not a part of his game organically. It's something that they have to manufacture. It's something that Bo Hardigree said. I showed him a bunch of clips of Patrick Mahomes taking advantage of scrambling situations, and he did it for a couple of weeks at a time, but never consistently. Dart, it was a consistent part of his game. I think that's a huge part of how they're moving the ball in New York versus how they're going to have to do things differently in Tennessee unless they're going to manufacture these situations for Cam and be like, all right, Cam, you got to get this going. Because think about Drake May. Was Drake May objectively good in the Broncos game?
No. He
not as a passer.
Managed.
But he had almost as many yards rushing as he did passing. And the situational awareness in the Denver game to take advantage of those scramble opportunities was a huge reason that, you know how many points the New England Patriots have scored in 3 playoff games? Or, I'm sorry.
Not a lot.
It's 3 playoff games. 54 points total in the postseason.
Not a lot of points.
But they're surviving because they can continue to sustain offense and take advantage of the points, and their defense is doing a great job holding these teams down.
And they've
also
played some pretty bad quarterback play.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I think they did that to Herbert. I think they objectively did that to Herbert. Stroud, I'm sure they exacerbated it beyond him just melting down.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference from the recent examples we have of Brian Daboll, his imprint on an offense, on a quarterback. Jackson Dart, Josh Allen, and Daniel Jones all have that in common, is they can take off, that dual threat ability. I went back and looked at the national championship game of the 2017 college football season. 2nd and 26, Tua Tagovailoa inserted into the game to replace Jalen Hurts at halftime against Georgia. We all remember, legendary game. Brian Daboll was the offensive coordinator of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Can you find 2 quarterbacks more polar opposite currently in the NFL than Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa? Pretty different in the way that they operate. Jalen Hurts in that first half went 3 of 8 for 21 yards, had 6 carries for 47 yards. Bama was not moving the ball in the first half. Nick Saban's the one who makes the call at halftime to put in Tua, the freshman. Very risky move. And they opened the playbook up for Tua. 24 attempts in the second half alone for Tua Tagovailoa. Completed 14 for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And had 12 carries, 6 more than Jalen, for only 27 yards, 20 less yards than Jalen. But the way Brian Daboll ran that offense with Tua Tagovailoa was completely different from what he did in the first half with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. It's just this single game microcosm of imagine an NFL offensive coordinator being given, you get Jalen Hurts for the first half, Tua for the second half.
You saw Brian Callahan do it with Levis and Mason.
That is
Rudolph.
opposite ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah.
And they did it in the national championship game. That adjustment on the fly, I don't know if you've seen a more drastic change in a quarterback's profile in game in a major moment like that than what they had to do at Alabama with Daboll calling plays.
All that to say, he's worked with all different kinds of quarterbacks, right? Josh Allen is not Matt Castle. And I'm not saying he was good with Matt Castle. And Daboll's success, but this is the thing that I think, because somebody's citing that Daboll didn't really start doing anything of note until 2016. But it's good that he had the experience early on, the ugly years. It's a learning process for any of these positions. And I know, I wanted Callahan fired after year one, right? Maybe that's not fair. It didn't get better, though. And ultimately, they ended up having to make that decision based on how much they were struggling and how little improvement, if any improvement, they were making whatsoever around Cam. Mike McCoy was able to accomplish at least some level of that. So with the Daboll offense, it's not going to be exactly what the Giants were, right? But you've got a variety of different quarterbacks for him to choose from to see, okay, we did this with Jalen, but that won't work for Cam. We did this with Josh, that might work for Cam. There's going to be so many different things within the concepts that everybody else runs for him to choose from, and that experience to help bleed into the best version of Cam Ward. And the other part of this conversation is, because I got some of this yesterday, Lucas, and maybe it was just a few comments that I read too much into. But I'm sure there are some Titans fans who are thinking this way, where it's, well, I want something that's going to be a long-term solution for Cam Ward. That's not realistic to what the NFL is. If they have success, they go on to get better jobs elsewhere in almost every situation. Think about how lucky the Jacksonville Jaguars are. Both of those coordinators are coming back after both interviewing for head coaching jobs.
Yeah, I mean,
that almost never happens.
Offensively, Cohen is the play caller.
But still, to have staff continuity where both of your guys were good enough to at least start getting head coaching jobs in year one, that's a huge win for Trevor Lawrence. It almost never, when's the last time that Trevor Lawrence has had staff continuity that way? Peterson?
Yeah, I can't remember who Peterson's OC was, but Peterson was calling plays, right?
And I think that the offensive coordinator situation for the Jags switched a couple of times under Peterson. So you're almost never dealing with that level of continuity. If Brian Daboll succeeds with Cam Ward, he will get hired elsewhere. He will get other head coaching opportunities elsewhere. I don't want you to care about 2027. Focus on what he can do for Cam Ward in 2026 and try and make the most of that, because that's what you have in your control.
Also, those are good problems. When's the last time the Titans had good problems?
2020.
Yeah. And did they respond to those well? No.
No. It was a disaster. And so I would understand why people would say, well, learn from our mistakes. We need somebody who's going to be, here for a long time. I'm just saying it doesn't happen that way.
But in 2020, they were coming off, back-to-back AFC South championships? Right?
Yeah, they won it in 19.
No. They were on the road in 19. So they were coming off an AFC South championship.
They won it in 20 and 21.
Right. And then they went on to have a 1 seed. Offensive challenges and injuries still found a way. But we understand the point. Those were good problems to have. In the long run, Vrabel and his staff did not pivot well when presented the good problems of success costing you the parts and pieces, a lot of the parts and pieces that brought you that success.
Yeah,
but
they got it right on the front end with Matt and Art, and then they didn't get it right on the back end. I think that Tim Kelly was dealing with impossible roster problems. I'm not going to make that an indictment of Tim the way that I would have Todd Downing.
But what I wouldn't give for some good problems. Dan Quinn is dealing with good problems in Washington. Got to an NFC championship the first year. Standard is raised. Coordinator turnover. It's a huge challenge. Same goes for Dan Campbell, but they've been winning. They've been in position. They've been in a window.
Well, not this year. I think that's what they're afraid of.
But in the totality of their tenures, absolutely it's what they're afraid of and what they should be afraid of in each of those spots. But they still had success on the way to getting there. I would love to have some good problems presented, because that means there was success along the way. And let's just do that part first. Have the success first before you start worrying about the good problems to have.
Oh, my God, get functional. They barely got functional towards the month of December. You could look at them and say, okay, they're actually competing the way that an NFL team should compete, no matter what your roster talent is. They look like they belong on the same field as some of these teams, at least, except, the Jags. Just bum rush them a couple of times. All right. Last call for phone calls. If you got them, 615-737-1045 is the number. I'm Buck Reising. It's 1045 The Zone. Banger. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. The best hot chicken around. When are the last time vibes have been this good? Just generally around the Titans.
Before the war.
I mean.
That's for sure.
That's 4 years ago, bud.
I mean, you want to talk just about vibes and hope? I would say 2 years ago with the onslaught of free agency, the Let Ram Cook
spending.
era.
Yeah.
I mean, people were pumped.
Sugar rush.
And people were excited about Cam Ward, obviously, right after the draft. But I think there was a little bit more cautious optimism, a little bit more resignation that, it's probably going to be a, not winning season. But we got our quarterback. See how he does. But pre-2024, oh, yeah, people were all in.
Somebody said since Downing's DUI. So the Green Bay game? I mean, Robert, that was before you worked here, right?
No,
2022?
The
Goober, come on,
It's
man.
not that long
I was
ago.
on the morning show then. It wasn't even the first iteration of me working here.
The Green Bay game was the last time
Shows how memorable your early years were.
That's the last time the Titans were in the mix.
That
Although
was mean, I'm sorry.
they were competing for the division the whole rest of the way that year.
Yeah, they were in it until the end, right? I mean,
But only
they
because
lost.
they had built up a 7-3 record and then managed to lose out.
God, I felt so bad for Dobbs at the end because, I mean, he did everything he could.
Going to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he is. I mean, there's a ton of them that spent some level of time here that are on that New England roster. Windu says pre-Tanny 3 picks. So hosting the divisional round in the 2021-2022 postseason against the Bengals. That Bengals game, that did a number on this place, it feels like, just generally.
Yeah, that'll rock your world.
Well, and then everything that came afterwards, it's just been a never-ending pile of slop.
Was that Denver Bills game the equivalent of what it was for the Titans, but it is for the Bills?
Oh, man, I think it was worse. I think it was worse because, Robert, 21 was before you worked here, right?
I don't know, was it?
I don't know.
I've been here since 1974.
I looked up one day in the old studio, and there was just this orange-pink thing hovering back there behind Lucas for a period of time.
Yeah, I remember you guys were so starved for content, you let me do Horse or Rock Band like my second day here.
That was when the show was just me monologuing for 3 hours. God
Times
help
were
us.
simple.
Anyway, it was worse, Robert, because they survived 9 weeks without Derrick Henry and still managed. They went through 92 different players that put on the uniform and dressed for a game en route to winning the 1 seed. Julio Jones, who they had signed and traded for earlier that season, was available. Derrick was available for the playoff game. A.J. Brown, who missed a couple of games throughout the course of that season, was available. It was as healthy as they were, and they got the 1 seed. Like, they survived all of it, and then just a football nuclear explosion.
Yeah, but everybody has their own scale of heartbreak. Here, in the modern era, that is the peak of heartbreak, right?
Yeah.
Before that, you'd probably have to go back to
Dyson.
Super Bowl, sure, but I would say 2008 against the Ravens, 1 seed at home, and you lose to Joe Flacco, rookie Joe Flacco, and the Ravens. That was my peak of Titans heartbreak as a fan growing up until 2021. But if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, especially if you're a Buffalo Bills fan that was a cognitive adult in the mid-90s,
Yeah.
that's a whole other discussion, man. Like,
4 straight Super Bowls.
4 straight Super Bowl losses. And then fast forward to this year and Josh Allen in the playoffs with no Burrow, Mahomes, or Lamar. Oof. Yeah, it's they kind of have their own way of measuring heartbreak up there that it's kind of apples and oranges.
So none of it's good. But, yeah, I mean, you're just looking for any reason to be optimistic. But like this, instead of the hope without concept that Callahan, when he got hired, and honestly even Cam, right, represented, this is something quantifiable. This is somebody who has had a proven track record of success. You have not had somebody with meaningful experience come into a job like the Titans. You might even argue since Dean Pease in 18, where you felt like, all right, definitively or maybe Fossil. Hiring Fossil was huge. And that, I know special teams isn't thought of the same way, but around here, for as bad as it got, in 2024. That was a huge win for them, and obviously they get to continue that. So we will have the press conference tomorrow for Robert Saleh, and there is a function, for lack of a better term, before that. We'll have a new episode of The Install tomorrow morning as well that we will run at 11:20 is the plan. Are you going to play any of that?
Yeah, I mean, Greg Cosell talking about Brian Daboll and his fit with Cam Ward.
That's basically all we're going to do tomorrow on the podcast.
Do you think you could get this bald cap to Greg to do the install with you bald?
Quick overnight shipping.
God, that would
he
be
could just
so
hold
lit.
his hands on either side of his head. He's already...
No, don't do that to Greg. Greg's got a full head of hair. Let's get
Greg does not have a full
let's
head
get
of hair.
this bald cap to Greg Cosell.
Do you think Greg would put the ball cap on?
Hell no, he wouldn't. But like, if you told him, I don't know, fabricate something that like Billy Joel needs a shot of him in that bald cap,
Billy
like
Joel.
Doesn't he loves Billy Joel.
Does he? I have no idea.
Remember, he came down here and wanted to do more stuff because he was going to the Billy Joel concert.
Greg likes concerts.
No, but I do remember that being a thing, that he has a particular affinity for Billy Joel.
Do you know his favorite Billy Joel song?
But can't name a Billy Joel song.
Oh, that's not true.
I'd be surprised if you could name one or two Billy Joel songs. I'd be really surprised. Really surprised.
Piano Man?
Correct. There you go.
Such a guess.
I mean,
I was like, what does he do? He plays the piano.
There are
It's just
so many
words.
layups.
So many.
We didn't start the fire. Moving out. Pressure.
We didn't start the fires, him?
Just the way you are.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have gotten any of these.
Uptown Girl.
Buddy, I'm telling you.
Still rock and roll to me.
Like, I've heard all of these songs, and I would be able to, but I wouldn't be able to tell you it was Billy Joel.
The Longest Time. For the longest time. Greg Cosell's favorite Billy Joel song, Vienna.
Oh.
You know that?
Classy.
Yeah, I talk to people. I get to know people.
I really don't like it.
I genuinely
I don't
connect
like having
with
conversations with people.
Traveler's Prayer.
Do you
So
remember
Human connection, not my strength.
you guys big
Anthony's song.
You guys big fans of Oliver and Company?
What is that?
The cat that gets lost in the streets of New York. He ends up getting
Like Babe, Pig in the City?
yes, but it's like an animated series. Came out for Disney, or not series, it's a movie. But he ends up the cat ends up hooking up with a bunch of dogs, and those dogs live in like a junkyard. And
I thought you were talking about what's with the Jewish mouse? Feifel.
Oh, Feifel. No, not Feifel. No, this is Oliver and Company. Well, he sings the "What Should I Worry? What Should I Care?" The opening song.
Oh, that's a good song.
It is a good song.
Okay, Billy Joel, not bad.
We need a Billy Joel poll open. Oh, I don't even know if we can go to polls right now. We need to keep talking about something. Need to figure it out, guys.
Yeah, I think we should just do polls.
Yeah. I don't have a Billy Joel poll.
I'm out of stuff. Well, yeah, we haven't had new polls since literally 2023. Brian Daboll was still with the Bills. Daboll.
Dadgummit, dude. Now we have to hold on.
Oh, we didn't start the fire poll would be great.
Oh, that would go hard if
Okay,
someone had time
sing
to
it. Go ahead.
someone had time to work on it.
Daboll. Yep, that's it. I've heard a lot of them.
Or was that the poll?
Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Are you from where you were born, or are you from where you were raised? 63% say raised.
Well, that's fair because we didn't bring this up on air. Somebody got in the comment section, Robert, in the F&M Bank chat and said, well, my dad was in the Army. I was born in Korea, but I am not even remotely Korean by any percentage of heritage, like actual heritage.
A lot of people are born overseas on mission trips, too.
Like Tim Tebow would not be Filipino, despite being born in the Philippines.
Do you guys know I was almost Korean? My dad was stationed in South Korea when he was in the Air Force, and he dated a woman over there for a long time and said that was almost his wife. I could have been Korean and might not even be here.
It wouldn't be you.
I think I would be way cooler as like a Korean Robert.
There is a chance that there is a Korean version of you running around then.
Oh, there's probably 3 of them. My dad is a
very
rabbit.
fertile.
Yeah, well, yeah. He gets after it.
What is the best thing on Brian Daboll's resume? Joey says winning Coach of the Year with the Giants. Ryan says bald. Danny says his development of Josh Allen.
It's that. I get why people would say, well, a lot of people would have been great with Josh Allen. I just think early onset Josh Allen, if you look at the way that he played.
He's one of the biggest developmental projects in NFL history at the quarterback position.
You can still give more credit to the player for doing the things necessary to take the leap, but you should also give that coach credit for bringing him along in the early phases. Where they were going to start the Peterman.
Yeah.
They did.
Are you concerned at all? Wait, was Daboll the OC when no, he got there in 2018, so it was Allen's rookie year that was his first year, correct, in Buffalo. So he wasn't there for the Tyrod Taylor playoff season. Are you concerned at all that Brian Daboll is a one-year Titans fix? 77% say no, they're not.
That's it's still a high percentage of them that are kind of fear trafficking in that, which I get, but like you just got to understand, if you succeed and he takes another job, it will have meant that you succeeded in some form or fashion, which is just a huge step for you as back-to-back 3-14 football.
Mike Herndon quoted it and said, not one bit. I think it's insane to be concerned that your offense might be so good that other teams want to hire your coaches. That is a first world problem of the highest order.
And one that you would love to have around here of late.
We should get Mike on the show sometime soon.
Sure. Where is he now? He's in Texas? Okay. We can visit with Mike Herndon at a later date. We know he'll probably be paying attention to draft stuff.
Those are the polls.
Are you on with Blaine?
No, I'm headed to Nashville SC's training facility to take in some training.
We'll be back tomorrow with a loaded show. Bert and I are off primetime tonight since we work Tuesday. See you tomorrow.